Panther Nation, what's good? Welcome back to Two Fans in the Stands. I am your favorite armchair GM, CJ.
And y'all know what it is. I am your favorite couch scout extraordinaire, Tony. Come on one time with the crabs.
Right.
Yes, sir. What's happening?
No, what's good, cousin, man? How you doing, man? How you feeling today?
Man, I'm bringing that old adage back. I got six in one hand and half a dozen in the other. Guess I call it even.
Okay. All right.
How you
And
feeling? How
everybody
you
that's
feeling?
watching,
I got a little sleep, so I'm a little energetic right now. You know,
okay.
so
All right.
yeah, yeah, that's
Don't
what it
start doing
is.
no backflips out here now.
Nah, I play ain't no nah, ain't none of that going on. What's going on with
I
you,
got
cuz? How
you.
you feeling, man?
Hey, man, feeling good. Another day. Blessed to see another day on this earth. So everything is everything, dog. I'm happy to be here. Happy to be here. Hey,
Already.
man, we got a good one tonight, man. We got a packed house. Got a packed house.
Got a
And
packed
for
house,
those of you
dog.
that are new and you're watching, welcome. All right. And if you would be so kind, please hit the subscribe button. At all social media at Two Fans in the Stands and on what we like to call Twix, a mixture of Twitter and X. You can find us at Two Fans ITS. Okay.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like the title says, this is our recap of the Carolina Panthers 2024 draft. Okay. And we have a star-studded panel of Carolina Panthers content creators with us tonight. So let me go ahead and bring everybody in and introduce everybody. All right. So as you can see, we have CDougie from WassupDoug. We have Carlo from the PreGame podcast. We have Dave from PNP, Carolina Dad from Growls One Roar, Rashad from PNP, and Uncle Quan from the Panthers Experience. And we also have Clay from the Roppstar Report and Ricky Rains from the let me make sure I get this right. The Boboddy show, right?
Yeah, man,
Boboddy.
that's it. Yep.
Ricky
Okay.
Bobody show.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? How y'all doing, fellas?
Good, man. Good. How you
Good.
doing?
Well,
Good.
Hey,
Blessed, brother.
I'm
Glad to be here, man. Hey, what a panel. What a
yeah, for
panel,
real.
man. Shout out to all you geniuses on the panel, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button for these boys, man. Let's get
Appreciate
into it.
you.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
greatly
my
appreciate.
first question for everybody. All right. Did the draft go any way at all how you expected? And
No, no,
everybody just chime in.
no.
No, like I think that's kind of the consensus, huh?
Absolutely not, man.
Go ahead. Rashad doing some deep thinking over there. Go ahead, give us your opinion,
Nah,
Rashad.
I'm straight.
Rashad, Ra- hey, Rashad
I
over there contemplate like should I let them have it or
nah.
should I not?
I was
Let me see.
waiting my turn. I was waiting my turn, but yeah, not necessarily. I mean, I thought it was okay, man. It's a solid draft. I think it's a lot of wait and see. It's a lot of wait and see in this draft, and that's okay. I think the approach, one can only hope that Canellis and them can get a lot of what was left on the roster last year, because them boys gonna have to show up because some of these dudes we ain't gonna be seeing
Right.
for a little bit, or we won't see them as much as we anticipate that we would like to see them. So I thought it's a solid draft, man. And listen, they all deserve time. That's all I'm gonna say. They all deserve time.
Right.
Okay.
Patience is
Right.
the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Patience is the name of the game. If you
Say
do
it
not
again,
have
Dave.
patience,
Say it for the people in
if
the
you
back.
guys don't have patience, I do not want to see Panthers Twitter complaining, talking about all these draft picks are a bust 4 weeks in, because I'm going to tell you right now, you might be
Yeah.
sorely disappointed.
Patience
So
is
Dave,
few and far between in Panthers Nation.
Dave, so I'm gonna ask
Go
you this
ahead, Tom.
question real quick. So what do you think about Panther fans that's already talking about, yeah, we should win 10 games this year. We should be contenders for hey,
I'm gonna tell
I'm
them
just
they need
hey,
to go see a
I'm just
psychiatrist.
trying to be a voice for the people, man. That's all.
Listen, man, if you feel like you that lucky in your life, you should go ahead and put all your house savings on the over, because I'm pretty sure that's a pretty
I'm
high over. Do the bonus. Like there's bonuses too. Like if the over under is like 6, you can up it to 8 yourself and do the over to get more money. Guys, let's be clear.
yeah.
That's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah. For
Okay.
anybody else? What about you, CD?
I'll tell you this: I got sick the night of the draft, so
Mm.
I went to
Mm.
bed
woke up in the middle of the night throwing up, and then when I woke up, I checked my phone and see that we traded up. So I was completely shocked. Part of the reason I went to bed was like, there's no way we're going to trade up into the first round. So that shocked me. I think a lot of the moves, like overall, I'm pretty satisfied with everything that happened. But I think like a lot of folks on here have said, it's going to take some time, man. It's going to take some time how it goes.
Okay.
I don't know
Ricky, how you feel, man?
Oh, well, yeah, Ricky, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ricky.
No, you're good. So I look at it more of like look at the positions that were selected by the Panthers as well. Maybe not necessarily the draft values of where they were taken, but we knew that they wanted to add offensive playmakers to the roster. They did that. We knew that they wanted to address the secondary, maybe the linebacker. They did that. It may not be the prospects that you personally wanted or that you personally ranked higher than the other guys that were still on the board, but they did what they said they were going to do, man. And they've been moving intentionally all off season. I think that it all kind of coincided with their actions. So I'm in that wait and see pattern that everyone's brought up. But I mean, I don't think it's fair to judge the actual players yet.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right. Anybody else?
What's up with you?
Get their thoughts real
Go ahead,
quick.
Clay.
I mean, yeah, I think while all the Panther players that we drafted should have a place on this roster, I think they're all going to have a chance, right? I mean, for me, it was just not getting an edge rusher and a center was kind of questionable to me in terms of the long term of the prospects. But I feel like if you look at a player and dictate how this draft class is viewed in 5 years, come back to me and say how you felt about this draft class. I mean, I like the class, but I can objectively see some of the shortfalls.
Okay.
Right.
Carlo?
Yeah. Carlo?
Yeah. First and foremost, man, shout out to PNP for having me on for a live reaction during the draft. About 30 hours of the stream. It was pretty wild. So it was interesting because usually I laugh at the people who are at the draft, and whenever a player is announced for their team and they don't know who it is, they're like, yeah, it's okay. And I felt that way for a moment because I'm like, yo, who is Michael Barrett? All right, cool. Who is and so like after sitting on it for a little bit and pause and thinking through it, chill out, chill on me. I said, chill on me. So after
I didn't even say that.
After reflecting and pondering on what happened throughout this particular draft, you start to think about it a little bit and start to do your research. And it's a wait and see for sure for me. You have some of your impact players who will, make an impact, which I know we'll get into a little bit later on. But when you think about it, we have to keep in mind through everything, it's all about, and I said this a lot during the weekend, it's all about fit and scheme, right? We don't know what the draft list looked like for Dan Morgan and for Dave Canellis, right? We don't exactly know what their scheme is and their fit for these players yet, because yes, if you see how Dave Canellis was at Seattle, you saw what he did in Tampa Bay, it's completely different. And he's really basing his scheme off of the players and what he thinks is going to work for that particular team. So we don't know exactly yet what that's going to look like for the Panthers. And so we're looking at these picks and we're like, is this the right time or is this the right person? We won't know until the offseason, the preseason. Hopefully that's not a vanilla offense that we see.
Okay. All right, bet.
Okay.
Hey, and real quick, just want to say shout out to Mr. Hunky Dory for the $2 super chat. As
what's up, Mr. Hunky Dory?
We appreciate you. Yeah, what's going on, Mr. Hunky Dory? We appreciate the $2 super chat. All right, gents. Now, what was this question? What was this
question though?
Said, who is sick of seeing and doing mock draft?
Oh, it's over now, guys. If y'all start a mock draft now, we're gonna have a discussion about your time frames, like how much time you have.
I've seen them all over Twitter already for 2025.
Yeah.
Why?
They're gonna be hitting. They're gonna be knocking me over the head for them in a little bit.
Starting already.
Don't worry, dog. You ain't getting that from me. I can promise you that.
He's gonna have his door knocked on for a month now.
Hey, we already scheduled to draft Shedeur Sanders with the number 1 pick in 2025.
I don't know why, because from what I've been hearing, was he going to be the top quarterback?
I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I'm leaving.
He's had an interesting couple of days. I'll leave it at that.
Sounds like a shit show in Colorado. Let's be honest.
Yes, a very interesting back and forth on Twitter. Very
I don't want nothing
Well,
to do with Sanders, man. I'm good on it.
interesting.
Because he
That's
brings a
what's
lot
up,
of
man. That's
baggage.
what's up. Yeah, yeah.
all right,
I mean, who's this?
all
Who's to say that
right,
he
go.
want to come here anyway? What you say, Tony?
All right, CJ, let's go. Let's go. We ain't gonna go down that rabbit hole. That ain't Panther football. We're gonna leave that one alone right there.
All right. Okay. Well, fellas, what we're going to do? I got some slides. We're going to pull them up for each draft pick, and we'll just go around and everybody just give your initial thoughts and what you potentially see out of each one of these draft picks. Okay. Let me pull them up here. All right, y'all. So first on the board, we have Xavier Legette. All right. Round 1, pick 32. His 2023 stats: 71 receptions, 1,255 yards, and 7 touchdowns. And I saw Nakari in the chat. The numbers that I have on here are just the numbers that they wore in college. Now he already pointed out that Jatavian Sanders will be 85 instead of 0, but that's just the college numbers I have on here. So fellas, we start off with Doug and just going down the panel. I'll give y'all thoughts.
I'm gonna say his right name Liggett because I didn't call him Leggett too, and Liggett. I think it was already known that we were going to draft him from literally all throughout the draft process. I'm not mad at it. That was the wide receiver before I even knew the combine. Just going off a tape between him, Troy Franklin, and Keon Coleman. That's why I wanted Carolina to draft. I think Dave Canales and our offensive coordinator already had a scheme for him. I don't know if they gave him a playbook beforehand, but I definitely love how he was excited about coming playing for the hometown team, the North End, the South Carolina, and I'm just ready to see him in that black and blue.
Okay, all right. CD.
Rashad. Oh, who you got?
What? Okay, well, go ahead, Rashad. I know you on the time limit. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh nah, man, you good. Don't worry about me. XL, man. Listen, we all knew he was gonna be the pick. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at them trading up and taking the 50 option route to get him. Not mad at that at all. Was he my top target there with the guys available? No, I'd be capping if I told y'all that. But I like him. I think he's gonna be able to play inside, outside, and he's what we need. We've got certain skill sets on the roster already, and having a guy that can play inside, stretch the field a little bit is something that we do need on this roster. So it's interesting to see. Again, don't put crazy expectations on him out the gate. I know,
Right.
bro. I just get sick of people. 1,300 yards, 1,000-yard season. Let's relax. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. People already slotting
Right.
him in at wide receiver 2. Let's just come on, man. Let's relax. He's not a perfect prospect yet. He's not ready to get out there week 1 and light it up. I don't see that happening. But over time, I think he's going to progress throughout the season, and I like it. I think it's a really good pick. Really good pick.
No, it's fun. It's funny that you said that because I went back and I looked at his college stats, and dog, they were very underwhelming. Except this past year. Now he spent 5 years at South Carolina. His last 2 years, he had Spencer Rattler as his quarterback. Because I've heard somebody mention, well, his junior year or I think his redshirt senior year, he didn't have a quarterback. But I'm like, I don't think that's correct because, like I said, Spencer Rattler was there 2022 and 2023, and if you look at his stats from 2022, dog, it was almost like he was a redshirt freshman, like he only played. It seemed just looking at the stats, like he ain't playing but 1 or 2 games, but he played the whole year. So when I look at his stats from 2023, I'm like, okay, so what took 5 years for him to mature into the type of player that he is now? And is this just a 1-year wonder? It leaves a lot to think about, and you just hope that going forward that he can eventually put up the numbers that he put up his last year in South Carolina. I'm with you, Rashad. Like my top 3 wide receivers were Ricky Pearsall, Keon Coleman, and Lad McConkey, simply because they're just natural hands catchers. But Liga is a Panther now, so I wish him nothing but the best. But I'm gonna be critical of him, just like I am with everybody else.
Okay, all right. CD, what you got?
Yeah, man, he was my pick. So a little bit of a homer for me. So family, half my family, South Carolina Gamecock fans. And I'll tell you, following the Gamecocks the last 2 years, they have been a terrible football team. Him and Spencer Rattler have been the bright spots of this team. And I think when you kind of look at his production, and people will do that, you'll go back and look at the stats. South Carolina had Juice Wells there for really before this year, the 2 years there that really took over most of the production. Where I'm excited to see him is in the kickoff return game. So we went to the game, I guess it was 2 years ago, and opening kickoff, and you've probably seen the highlights where he runs that thing back to the house. I think that explosiveness, the way that he high points the ball, he's not afraid to go up and get it. That's really what I'm excited about. And I know there's probably a bunch of other receivers you could take there, but I do agree with everyone else that like it's going to take a little bit of time. We're not going to drop him in here and get 1,000-yard season out of him. But me personally, I am pumped about this pick and glad that the Panthers took him.
All right, cool. Hey, shout out Ethan Fry. He said, keep pounding from Canada. Let's go with the $2 super chat. Hey, man, thank you, Ethan. We appreciate you.
Appreciate that, Ethan.
Dave, you up, buddy?
My opinion on the pick, I expected the pick. Shout out to them for making sure they traded up to go get their guy. I just want the Panther Nation to temper their expectations. If he ends up being the 3, that's a win. Maybe he matures into the 2 over the season. But like I've seen some of the stats they expect out of him, and I'm looking at y'all like y'all crazy, man. Like, you know, I think Dave Canales has shown us so far that he really wants to run the ball. Like he really wants to run the ball. And if he's going to run the ball as much as he claims he wants to, you know, there's 2 other wide receivers that are going to get more targets than him. At least 3 if you count the running back.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, so just keep that in mind when you start thinking about what you expect out of him for his rookie year.
But Dave, what would be a realistic goal, or I'm saying, what is your realistic expectations from him his first year?
500 yards. 500 yards is a win, and I know that folks are going to probably think that's too low. Yeah, 500 yards is a win. Like I think folks are like, oh, he's going to get 750, 800. I'm looking at y'all like, how many yards you think Bryce Young going to be throwing for? Like, I mean, we've only had 2 Panthers throw for 4,000 yards ever. And they only did it once.
Right. Especially in this run heavy scheme that Dave Canales is talking about implementing. So
yeah, like I looked at the stats, man. Like the last time we had a quarterback that threw for over 3,700 yards was Teddy Bridgewater in 2020. Before that, it was Cam in his MVP year. So I mean, I need folks to understand what we've been sitting in. We've been sitting in purgatory from a passing standpoint, but that's been the case with the Panthers historically because we tend to be smash mouth, run the ball down your throat type of squad. Right. We've always been that way. Right. Phenomenal defenses. That's the way. That's the MO. That's where we've had our most success. It wasn't when we were throwing the ball for 300 yards, 350, 400. That's not. Cam lost more games when he threw for 300 yards than when he didn't. So, all right, I'm done with my spill.
Gotcha. All right, Carlo.
Hey, for sure, man. Look, they came and got me, man. I was excited to be a Panther, man. No, I rock with Leggett. I rock with him, man. I was super excited about it. I had the opportunity to watch him pretty close, or in the words of Xavier, pretty close. I was able to watch him a good bit, and I was excited about it, man. One thing I like about Xavier is that he got a lot better towards the end of his college career rather than really peaking in the beginning of his career like a Derek Stingley. Now, granted, Derek Stingley is a really good player, but he had a really good freshman year, and then from there, it just kind of like just got really, really low, quiet from there. So I like the fact that he's continued to get better each year, which gives me promise, right? That okay, eventually he may be getting into his prime, his peak, and from there we can see what he can do. And now our coaches can coach him up to get him to where he needs to be. Now, I completely agree with what Dave said. We need to lower our expectations of what he's going to do. I think that it could be do not be surprised if he does not start in the beginning of the season and Mingo starts or someone else starts and they ease him into it like they should do with rookies. But I think that he's going to be around the 650 yard range. And he's going to continue to get better each year. So I like this pick. Now, granted, there were a lot of other players that could have been good, but like I said in the beginning, it's all about scheme and fit, right? We all talk about Lat McConkey. Lat McConkey is like a Deontay Johnson fit. We have somebody like that already on our squad. They need somebody that fits this particular mold on the team, and Xavier Legette fits the bill for them. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do with him.
All right.
Okay.
Clay?
Yeah, I mean, this was my pick, honestly. I mean, I kind of figured they were going to pick him. Obviously, incredible speed, incredible acceleration, explosiveness, reliable hands. He's physical after the catch. And he's going to be a nightmare to tackle in the open field. I think a lot of people are talking about the hip drop tackle rule now, and they're not putting that into play. I mean, this guy is going to be a pain in the ass to tackle with that hip drop rule. So, I think that's going to have an advantage for him for his size. Simply, I think that with Canales working with like a guy like DK Metcalf in Seattle, I could see them trying to produce him like that in this offense. I think he fits the scheme perfectly. He's a guy that you can, it's a 50-50 ball kind of guy. He's going to go up and go get it. I like this pick a lot. I had him going. I had him at 33 anyway. So.
Okay. All right, Ricky.
Well, so everybody's already talked about, the physical prowess of Xavier and what he kind of brings to the football field in that regard. But to Dave's point about the run game and the emphasis that Canales has already stated about that, Xavier's going to have to get better run blocking. That's something that shows up on tape for him. He can be a little bit overzealous. His awareness, not being able to get to his mark on time and kind of running past his mark a lot is something that showed up for him on tape. But the good news about that is it's extremely coachable. And by all accounts about Xavier Legette, he is incredibly hardworking, takes to coaching extremely well. We've already seen the videos of him training the day after getting selected instead of, kind of taking that moment to celebrate that, which we know he celebrated with his family. He got back to business, man. And that's something that about him that I like very much. It's something that if you have PTSD from thinking that Jonathan Mingo was the wrong pick, last year at 39, and you think that he's just not a hard worker, Xavier's not going to get confused with that. As far as like his fit in the scheme and what to expect from him, I think that that's all dependent on how Canales truly intends on using him. There's a plethora of ways that he can be effective. A lot of the route running stuff is going to take a little bit of nuance and time for him to kind of hammer some of that stuff down. But on crossers and digs and things of that nature, I love the potential. I just think that I would anticipate seeing him make some impact plays. I wouldn't put statistics on it. I wouldn't put touchdown numbers. I want to see him make impactful plays, and I think that he will.
Right.
Good.
All right, Quan.
Man, I couldn't agree more, but you did ask me for my initial thoughts. So initially, for me, like I was talking about over in my live, man, I was a little pissed because we had moved up. Again, on my board, I mean, somebody mentioned on the panel, they said our boards are a lot different from what their boards was. So this pick had let me know right then and there, like, okay, yeah, my board and what I'm expecting, I got to take my emotions out of this draft because I was wanting Adonai Mitchell. Adonai Mitchell was sliding down the board how I didn't expect it. I didn't think he would come out of the first round. So I was like, okay, we got an opportunity there. I thought he was a better receiver at that pick, at least at 33. So I was excited about us getting Adonai, but then we moved back up, got Legette. Of course, I knew that was their guy. They talked highly of him. Even he let out the bag. He said they was thinking about getting him at 33. So it was no surprise ultimately. But from this point on, it was like, okay, let me not even think about what I have on my board. This is their guys. They're getting their guys regardless. So I do like overall, I love the offensive pieces that they brought in. But, I'm not going to set no high expectations on these young guys. But I also am expecting them to be day one contributors. I'm talking about all the offensive pieces that we have in this draft. I'm not going to sit here and say they're going to put up crazy numbers. I'm not going to say they're going to be, star players right away. But I do expect them to be implemented somehow, some way into this offensive scheme. So Xavier Legette, somebody mentioned earlier, that hip drop tackle is is gone now. This is a bigger receiver with a thicker frame. So how is it? How is that going to look when you're trying to take him down? And like y'all mentioned, with the new kickoff rules, he even spoke on it in the press conference. He's like, "Yeah, if I find me a crease, it's 6." So I'm looking forward to seeing just how they use him, whether it's special teams or with the with him at the X or whatever he's playing, man. So I can't wait to see how they are contributing to our team. I do think they have very high potential. But again, I'm not going to put a stamp on it. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit here and say like they're going to be stars, but it is exciting. Yeah. It's definitely an upgrade from what we have now, at least on paper. So,
okay,
yeah, I know somebody mentioned in the chat earlier they was like they don't know exactly what Dave Canales' scheme is. I think it's a little mixture of inside zone and outside zone, but it's definitely heavy on the run game. The main thing I want to see, no matter what the scheme is, are these receivers going to open up the field and not allow double teams on one particular receiver? Like last year, like Adam Thielen was double teamed pretty much every game, all game, and he still managed 103 receptions and a little over 1,000 yards. So, when you can eliminate that double team of receivers, it does kind of spread the offense up a little more. It takes a little bit, take 7 men out the box because you tend to have the 2 high safeties. A lot of cover 2 is being ran, but for Xavier Legette to fit into something like that. So when Ricky Barber was just talking about those digs, crosses or things like that, those are zone busters. So I'm just, I'm just curious to really watch these wide receivers get a chance to operate on one-on-one basis next year and see what Bryce can do, especially throwing over the middle of the field, because I think that's where he's gonna make a lot of his lot of his money as over the middle of the field. That's just my opinion.
Okay. Well, for me, I'm excited to see what this man can do as far as yards after the catch. And I think our screen game will be something to watch out for this season as well. So I'm gonna leave it at that. And we're going to the next player. All right. And that will be Jonathan Brooks. Round 2, pick 46, 2023 stats, 187 carries, 1,139 yards, 10 touchdowns before he had a season-ending injury in November. Okay, so this time we're going to start with Uncle Quan and work our way backwards. So go ahead and give us your thoughts.
There's a versatility right there. Dave Canales talked about in his press conference just having a lot of versatility. So shout out to PNP, man. I was tuned in on y'all live and y'all pointed that out. I believe I was over there at PNP, man. But yeah, I mean, very versatile running back. He can do it all. I mean, receiving and running. But I'm not gonna I think they're gonna slowly bring him in. Obviously, with him coming off the ACL injury, they're gonna slowly work his reps up. You know what I mean? Maybe somewhere low between, I don't know, maybe 5 to 7 carries a game, maybe leading up to like week 5, maybe later in the season. But I think they'll slowly work him in, something like how the Detroit Lions did with Jahmyr Gibbs. Use him here and there, but use Shuba Hubbard and Miles Sanders as our dominant backs, and just kind of slowly, put him in there as he fits. But and I think his potential and his upside is definitely very high. I mean, obviously he was the best running back coming out of his class, and the breakaway speed is crazy. Even the contact balance is absolutely insane. He's able to bounce off of these tackles very easily and still just go from 0 to 100. I mean, this guy is very impressive on the tape. So that gives us the explosive ability, and he also can show that he can lower his shoulder. We saw a couple times over at my live just now on the tape where he's lowering his shoulder in the red zone, saying about 5-6 yards out, and he's able to push his way into the red zone. And that's not really something that we had this past season. 3rd and 2, 4th and 1 situations, it was very complicated. So I think this definitely answers that question, at least in the future. Again, he has a very, very high ceiling, man. I mean, again, best running back in the class. I think he will challenge Bijan Robinson as the best running back in the division in the future. So we'll see with that, man. That should be interesting. But overall, I do like this pick. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect it at all. I didn't think we would take a running back, especially with the 46th pick this high. But again, that kind of let me know moving forward, okay, this is a completely different board from what I was expecting from the Carolina Panthers. They clearly have their eyes on their own guys. So Jonathan Brooks, I do like this pick overall, man. Definitely a hell of a pick.
All right.
Okay.
So, Ricky?
This was my favorite pick personally of the entire draft. This was my number 1 rated running back on my board, number 39 overall prospect. What I love about Jonathan Brooks is he's got terrific vision, terrific contact balance, and underrated the ability to be a 3-down back. A big portion of that is because he's terrific as a pass blocker in pass pro. That is going to be a very welcomed addition to the running back room because that is an issue that Chuba Hubbard has progressed in, but it's still something that shows up on Chuba's tape that's still an area where he's not proficient necessarily. So it's very difficult to keep somebody on the field when you don't trust them in that situation. Miles Sanders is very similar. Raheem Blackshear gives it effort, but he's still a little bit undersized. Where I think Jonathan Brooks is going to make an impact, I agree with the slow rolling him in. I don't think that you can let him just hit the ground running coming off that ACL. But I also don't anticipate him not being involved. I think that they will look at him in pass downs for pass pro and to kind of keep things interesting and keep defense on their toes. He's another player very similar to Xavier Legette. You have to account for him being on the football field. We didn't have a whole lot of those players on the roster where once you see them aligned on the field on offense, the defense is keying in on them and wondering how will they be used. That's what he provides. I think it's a whole lot different than what Chuba and Miles provide. And for me, man, this is all about adding skill sets that were not currently present. So I absolutely love this pick, and I think he could be terrific for us.
Okay.
All right, Clay.
Yeah, to piggyback off that, I was actually kind of surprised by this pick. I mean, I knew we were going to get a running back in the draft, but what stood out to me when I watched Jonathan Brooks' tape was his footwork, his elusiveness, his vision, his lower body moves very well. It's like butter. It's hard to catch this guy. Defenders have that problem. He's a serious burst of speed out of that backfield, and I think he's going to bring a much needed energy into this offense. The fact that he's being touted as the most complete back in this entire draft says a lot. It's not just the thing that stood out to me, though, was that not just his skill set, but more of what he is off the field with teammates. A lot of people had to say how he is off the field. Definitely got the versatility right. Valuable asset on third downs. I think a lot of people are going to argue or probably have argued on Twitter, drafting a running back in the second isn't the most premium pick, right? But I feel like Dave Canales is so stubborn in the fact of running the football, right? So you need to, with this new revamped offensive line, you need a guy to go who's going to create these holes for him. You need a guy that can be an explosive runner like Brooks. And there's no telling what kind of damage he can do. I don't think he's going to be I think he's going to contribute, but I think it's going to take, I would say I wouldn't see him getting any play time with that ACL. I know he said he'd be ready by training camp, but I don't think I'm going to predict 3 or 4 games before he comes in.
Okay.
All right.
All right, it's time to drop some hate because all you guys are in love with this pick, and I gotta be honest. When it first happened, yeah, I mean, I was not happy. You spend, and again, I give them complete credit because what's not being talked about is the trade back, right? I would have been really upset had they done it at 39, but they traded back, were able to acquire that future second round pick. Genius. So it took a little sting off of it for me. I'm still, like Clay said, I'm not a fan of using a premium second round pick for a running back, especially a running back that is coming off of ACL. Now, that being said, I do also, 2 things can be true. I also agree that he is super versatile out the backfield. It's something we have not seen since a Christian McCaffrey-esque. I'm not calling him Christian McCaffrey, so relax. Okay, everybody chill. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that receiving threat out of the backfield is something we have, like Ricky said, it's something we haven't had around these parts in a long time. His ability to block out the backfield, excellent, love it. That's generally why young running backs don't see any PTs because they can't block, right? And so him, being able to have that ability coming out of college is great. And so again, I'm a little concerned about the ACL. And I don't think he's going to return as quickly. I agree with Clay on that. I think it's going to be a couple games where we truly see his impact. And I'm gonna take my own advice. I'm gonna be patient on this one and wait for that year 2, year 3, because I think that's where this pick's gonna pay off. And I think it's gonna be a great pick. I do believe that he's gonna live up to that value. So I'm peeling back my hate a little bit. I do think he's gonna live up to it. Just a couple things. He's only had 1 career fumble, which is crazy. Also had, I believe, only 2 drops. So I mean, it's great. I think he's gonna do a great job. And I'm excited. I hope he pushes Miles Sanders off this roster. That's I don't think he's a little aggressive. I think you'll see a 3-headed monster, but it is what it is. And I do think Chuba is RB1. Let's stop putting Jonathan Brooks at RB1 right now. Let's relax. I do think Chuba has earned the right to be RB1 going to the season at the start of the season, and we'll see what Brooks can do to make up some of them snaps.
Okay.
Hold on, real quick before you go, Carlo. Hey, Rashad. So, who do you think would be the odd man out?
What do you mean?
As far as in the running back room, so now you got Brooks, Blackshear, Sanders, and Hubbard. Now, but before you say, because I know you get in your feelings about Sanders, so let's take that out of it. But
no, I'm good.
Realistically,
I'm good.
Who you think would be the odd man out?
Nah, so I really hope that it's Sanders, but realistically, because I think you guys answered the question earlier about Xavier Legette, having that special teams ability, that may push Blackshear off the edge. You know what I mean? So it depends. I don't know, bro. I'm excited to see the competition. To be honest with you, it's gonna be very interesting. I'd be very surprised if they move Miles Sanders, because again they're gonna swallow a huge pill. Pause. Cutting a Miles Sanders. So from a financial standpoint, so I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting to see.
Okay.
All right, Carlo.
Man, look. So Shad, bold prediction. So Shad and Ricky, shout out to y'all. Y'all took a lot of things I said. I called this one live. We were
on. You did.
It happened, and I was like, look, y'all, don't be surprised if it's JB. And everybody was like, nah, and it happened. So I think that already tells you how I feel about it, man. I'm super excited about it. Right when I saw this,
Carlo with the inside scoop.
Hey, yo, look, you got the sources or you got the streets, right? It's 2 different ones. It was the streets talking to me, No, but right when I saw this, I was like, yep, Miles Sanders. It's over.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah, you going, man.
Hey, that's a great use of a sound effect.
Oh my God! Like, what the hell is that?
It's so look. Here's the
you
thing.
should never ask that question about what the hell is that. By the way, just so you know.
No, if you don't,
I mean, I know. Come on, Dave. I know the thing, but it just caught me off guard just now. That's all I'm saying.
Look, so here's the thing. No shade towards Miles. I think that Miles Sanders is actually going to have a better year because we have a better offensive line. So let's just be honest there. Also, I think Jonathan Brooks. Y'all said a lot. Pass protection, amazing. If you look at I know somebody posted it on Twitter, the first 10 games of this year versus the first 10 games of last year of Bijan Robinson, his numbers in terms of receptions, yards, touchdowns were almost as even with Bijan Robinson in the first 10 games. And he models his game. They asked him in an interview, who do you model your game after? He talked about Bijan Robinson. Am I saying he's going to be Bijan Robinson? Absolutely not. But what I am saying that he has potential to be that home run hitter for us. Doesn't have that speed, but he is a third down back that I'm excited about. Christian McCaffrey-esque, not McCaffrey for real, but he has the potential to do that. But I agree with Shad. Hubbard will be our RB1 starting off. I think that this is a person that we can ease into the game. I think this is somebody who doesn't need to play initially like the first game. We can let him heal up, let him be prepared. Give him a few runs to just get his feet wet. But Hubbard's gonna ball out because this is a contract year for him. If we can keep both of them, that'll be great.
Right.
If not, no worries. I think Hubbard will go get his money somewhere else. But I'm excited to see what JB's gonna do, man. So shout out to him.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dave. Take us to church.
Bold prediction. Listen, man.
Bold prediction.
I'm more impressed about the trade that we traded back to get our second round pick back more than anything else. Like initially, I was with Rashad. I wasn't too happy about it, but I slept on it and I was cool with the pick after I thought about it. To get the best running back in the draft, to get the second round pick back, I like it. It makes the running back room interesting. This is the moment where I remind you guys that we have a new coaching staff. So there's no loyalty in that room right now. But I know for a fact he's going to make the team because he drafted him.
Right.
And the reason why I hit bold prediction was that they just picked up a undrafted free agent, Jared Sheridan. I think he's going to make the team too for the same reason.
The kid out of Monmouth.
Yeah, the kid out of Monmouth. He's legit. He's really good. So like when you take those things into account, that means we'll probably keep two that's already currently on the roster. So Chuba's safe, obviously. So there's debate as do you take the cap hit on Miles Sanders or do you keep Miles Sanders at the expense of everybody else? So because I don't see us keeping more than 4 running backs.
So, is that including the practice squad too?
I mean, practice squad is practice squad. I'm talking when I talk about they'll probably try to keep one.
You're talking about active roster.
Active roster. I mean, they're not going to have more than 4. So, like, I like Sheridan a lot, man. I saw him enough. I watch a lot of FCS football. I saw him enough. He's legit. It's arguable that he should have been drafted, but the way that the running backs fell, I understand why. But so it was a pretty good steal to get him.
All right.
Yeah. CD.
Yeah, I think everybody had a good summary, so I'm pretty in line with everyone there. I think a few things that I thought about once he was drafted was taking a look at how Dave Canales ran the Tampa Bay offense. And if you look at Tampa Bay stats, and I know it's not apples to apples, but Rashad White was the 3rd leading receiver in terms of yards on that team. You have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and then a running back with 500 yards. You have White with 600 yards after catch, over 20 first downs through the passing game. You have a quarterback and you get him an asset like that. I think this is an investment. You have Chuba Hubbard, who's running back 1. Chuba Hubbard's on a contract year. You have Miles Sanders, who, if he makes it this year, maybe, but absolutely next year could be out of here. And Raheem Blackshear, who's like on a 1-year contract. So this running back room could get blown up. And Brooks is that investment that you would have in place to develop alongside Bryce Young. Like 3 out of the first 4 picks were there to help Bryce Young and give him a playmaker. And it's funny that we're getting a CMC-esque playmaker after giving him away, but I'm excited about it. Everybody made really great points though about kind of not being okay with other needs, like whether it was center, whether it was edge, cornerback, whatever you felt, like I could absolutely sit back and say, yeah, I think it would make sense doing that over a running back.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. See, Dougie.
Hey, one thing that I want to emphasize, he said that White was the 3rd receiver on that roster with 600 yards after the catch, right? And you guys trying to tell me Legette's going to get more than 500 yards? Just saying.
Hey, good point.
Temper the expectations, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to help y'all. I'm trying to prepare y'all for what y'all about to see. Y'all be out here.
Well, no, I'm right there with you. I'm definitely right there with you. Go ahead, Dougie.
Okay. I will say this, for me, I'm not gonna keep long. I really like the pick. I didn't think the pick would have happened right here. Only reason why I like it is because one position that you're able to replace is running back through the draft. I think if Chuba has a good year, it just depends on what really happens with Chuba, where we really don't have anybody outside of Chuba. I know a lot of people are upset with Miles Sanders, and if Chuba wants to get a bigger pay increase going to a different team, we don't have any other running backs. I mean, I understand everybody's upset with Miles Sanders, and Dave made a good point with the running back out of Monmouth. He was supposed to be drafted, and Coker as well was supposed to be possibly drafted at the back end of the draft. I know we're not talking about wide receivers, but those are 2 undrafted free agents that they really can make some noise in their respective rooms. But talking about the running back room, Tony made a point of, he asked Rashad, who would be the odd man out. You forgot a name that I'm surprised Dave didn't get you. You didn't say Tariq Cohen. And I'm surprised Dave did not say anything with him being an Aggie man just like me.
I'm worried about Tariq, but the numbers isn't going to help him. I'm going to tell you that now.
Pride.
Oh, no.
I know.
Yeah.
I know the numbers.
Thank you, Brian. You see, I got the shirt on, man. It's just the
I know.
numbers.
Hey, we
numbers
Aggies
rough.
all day. Aggies all day. But I'm surprised you didn't say anything. But just the fact of that means they don't. And this is just me personally. You draft a running back, and one thing that I was alluding to, where I was telling Tony and CJ, most of the first 4 picks that we picked were all top 30 visits. So they had to do their homework on the guys. They definitely had to understand that these particular players can bring something to this team. But like Rashad and Dave said, patience is key right now. But they looking at the bigger picture. And Dan Morgan said in his introductory press conference, he's not just looking for this year. He's looking for the future as well. And I think with this pick, this is for the future as well. Because again, we don't know how the running back room can look. We don't know if a running back goes down. Do we have somebody that can pick up that production? So I wasn't expecting this pick, but I love the pick and I love the value that we traded back and got. So,
all right. But before I give my opinion real quick, listen, we got 165 people watching, only 44 likes. So if you do us a favor, smash that like button, subscribe, turn those post notification bell. So whenever we go live or drop new content, you know what I'm saying, that would truly help us out. And in turn, we can also help you by keeping this content going and keeping it fresh for you. I didn't like the pick at all. And I'm like, Dave, the only reason I did come around to it is because we got the second back from next year, which made us whole going to 2025 draft. I think
Don't give Dave
2025 we
that.
had
Rashad
9.
said that. Don't do that. Don't give Dave my points, bro.
Oh,
Don't get
I
Dave my
mean,
it could be mutual points, shot.
Don't
Like, we
do
ain't
that.
gotta do this
Nah,
here.
we
My
separate.
my
Don't
bad,
give him my
Shad.
points,
My
dog.
bad, Shad. You right.
I need all my. I let it slide the first time. Don't give Dave my points, B. I earned that.
Let's not do this.
I gave Dave your points.
The hostility.
I don't think I did. Listen, but no, seriously though, I was the same way when it came to that pick, because my thing with Jonathan Brooks, I didn't think you need to waste. I'm not gonna say waste. I don't think you need to take a running back that high that has 1 year of production. It wasn't even a full year, and it just tore its ACL in November. So the way I look at it, and I've always looked at it with high draft picks, the first 3 rounds to me, I'm always looking at those are potential starters, day 1 starters. You know, round 4 through 7 typically are your backups, project developmental guys that you can catch on the back end of the draft. But when you take a running back at this position, especially someone like I said, like Jonathan Brooks, I wasn't expecting that. I've been very vocal about what I thought should have happened, and that was a center, because we spent all this money on 2 guards, and we haven't really solidified the middle of the offense. And there's a lot that's been put on the shoulders of Austin Corbett going forward. And again, he's coming off 2 major knee injuries within the past 16 months. So then you look at who's the backup behind him. Well, initially I thought it was Cade Mays, and then they say Brady Christensen was taking snaps at center. So you're talking about, I think Cade Mays played more center in college than Brady Christensen, because he was a 3-year starter at left tackle at BYU. So I just felt like going forward that the offensive line really needed to be solidified, and we missed the opportunity there. But getting that second round pick back next year, I was kind of okay with it. My pick as far as running back, I thought Trey Benson was a better running back than Jonathan Brooks. Bigger, faster, got great contact balance, can catch out of the backfield, and very productive. So that was my choice. But again, Jonathan Brooks is here now, so I'm a root for him. You know, I think we, like Dave said, or maybe it was Rashad, I don't remember. But just be patient, you know, with him. I don't
That might have been my
think he
point
gonna
too. Come on, man. It's 2 strikes.
Hey, Tony, can you answer this question for me? Because a lot of Panther fans are saying it, but I don't think Panther fans are doing our homework. What centers were on the board? What centers were on the board when we got Jonathan Brooks? Do you know that?
Oh,
Zach Frazier. Yeah, there you go. I wanted to see him.
Yeah, Zach Frazier.
Okay.
No, of course I know. JPJ was already gone.
Okay.
Hey Tony,
Zach
can I
Frazier
throw
was
one?
there.
Can I throw a stat out too as far as the value of running back not being there, taking him this early? 14 of the last 20 years, the leading rusher in the NFL was a player selected in the top 50 of the NFL draft. So when you look at it and you're saying we want to get an elite player at a position that we have intent on making a big emphasis of our offense, the potential of what they're looking at is that if you can get a top 5, and I'm not saying that's what Jonathan Brooks is, but if you look at it from a statistical probability and the difference in talent, if you can get a top 5 player in the league at a position, I think that that's worth pretty much any selection, right?
Okay.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Ricky. When you're talking about statistical value, but for me, I'm gonna always put production value before anything statistical, data, analytics, or anything like that. And I just, like I said, this man's coming off an ACL injury that he suffered in November. He only has not even one full complete year of production, because before him, you had Bijan Robinson and Rashawn Johnson that were starters at Texas before Jonathan Brooks. So when I look at it in its totality, I'm looking at how long will it be before you really get this young man on the field to see what you got? You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of it is.
Because again, and
Say what?
That's a hypothetical, because if they're saying that he'll be available at July 1st, that's your hypothetical thinking that you don't know. Again, like I said, we're all podcasters.
No,
that's not that. So let me finish, because again, they said that he will be ready July 1st. They came out and said he'll be available July 1st. So if you're saying what you're saying, that is a hypothetical, because again, if he's ready, we don't know. He can play the whole year and the ACL don't bother him. We're not a medical team right here. All these podcasts right here, we're not a medical team. I'm just saying the medical standpoint.
Okay, Doug, but I think you kind of taking what I'm saying as to be true, and I'm just giving my opinion. It's not not really a hypothetical, because history shows if you have torn the ACL in November, meaning that is towards the latter end of the college season, typically you are not ready to come back within 8 months. Not 100%. Not 100% to say, well, yeah, he may be ready to go. Ready to go can mean he's ready to run, maybe start cutting, doing a little light jogging. I don't think they said that he'll be 100% ready to go. So my thinking is, what I said is, for the value of the pick of the round, I don't think they should have taken him at what pick was it? 46 or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Look, Carolina can say what they want to say. It's not like they're going to come out and say anything negative or anything like that. But hey, if he comes back in July, he's 100%. God bless him. I'm still all there for him. But history has shown, especially a running back, nobody comes back. It takes at least 2 years to be completely 100% recovered. So we're banking on this guy being 100% in 8 or 9 months. Me personally, in my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen, because history has shown us it don't work out that way.
I feel you, Tony. But one thing I will say, we have to keep in mind that the Cowboys, this is why I appreciate the Panthers being very low key with who they were really interested in, because the Cowboys came out and already said that they were infatuated with Jonathan Brooks. He had the best interview, all those different things. And so they had to jump them to be able to get the guy that they wanted for this particular scheme that Allison Morgan had. So I think that's one reason we have to think about the reason why they traded back, which I love, got the second round pick, moved back up to surpass the Cowboys. And they probably called a lot of other people right before the Cowboys, and they probably didn't want it. This is all assumption here from my personal standpoint. They finally found a trade partner and then moved up to 46 to get their guy. Now, granted, am I saying that he's going to make any immediate impact? Like I said before, no. I think that there's there's room for him to grow, to heal up. We have Miles Sanders, we have Chuba Hubbard to be able to do it. But I think that he's going to be the guy moving forward. So we just got to keep that in mind, that they had to move above the Cowboys in order for them to get their guy.
Right. Yeah, I don't disagree. I just that just wouldn't have been my pick. That's all. Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, CJ.
All right. Well, I ended with this. One thing I look forward with Brooks, his vision. Okay, in the little bit of film that I've seen on him, he finds the hole, he plants his foot, and he's gone. Okay, now he has enough speed to take it to the house. I've seen a few instances where he does get run down, but I really like his vision. You know, as a couple people have said, Christian McCaffrey-esque. You know, not Christian McCaffrey, but you know, I will say I do like that in comparison to Chuba Hubbard because, in my opinion, Chuba Hubbard gets a little bit of tunnel vision at times. You know, if the play is going right, he's going right. If there's a cutback available, a lot of times it seems like he doesn't see it, you know, and there are yards to be had that, you know, we don't get. So I like the pick, and I was real iffy about trading up because I was all about keeping, you know, the same number of picks, and I was kind of mad we traded both second round picks, but it worked out, and you know, and we're here. So overall, I like the pick.
Yeah.
I like the pick.
I think we
All
still picked up one additional pick in the draft because we finished with 7 draft picks, and we picked up the second rounder for next year. So, yeah.
Hey, and I just want to say real quick, let me get everybody on the screen. Again, thank you for everybody who pulled up here on the panel. Okay, we have CDougie from WassupDoug. We have the Carolina Dad from Growls One Roar. Clay from the Roppstar Report. We got Rashad and Dave from PNP, Panther Nation Podcast. We got Carlo from the PreGame Podcast. We got Ricky Raines from the Ricky Boboddy Show. And we got big rich homie Uncle Quan from the Panthers Experience. So I just want to make sure I shout out everybody, get everybody up here.
Salute to all
make
y'all
sure everybody see your faces. Yeah. And I just wanted to say, I got a shirt. Rashad, look at this and what we was talking about the other night. It's a keep pounding.
My man already got his keep pounding, man.
Yeah, I got another shirt. I got a shirt design coming out pretty soon too. So it's not like that, but it's gonna be dope too. But shout out to Leaguette, man.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Man.
All right, y'all. So let's get back to it here. We have Trevin Wallace, 3rd round pick, number 72, 2023 stats, 80 total tackles, 5.5 sacks, 1 interception. All right. Doug, we're gonna start with you this time. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on Mr. Wallace.
I'm actually glad we got this one. Travion Wallace, we talked about it right before the I want to say the last time we had went on live on WassupDoug right before the draft, and we had Dunk, we had a panel over there, and I was saying, hey, Travion Wallace had a visit today because it was the last day for visits, and come to find out, I think everybody was like, "Are we going to take Peyton Wilson because he's a North Carolina kid?" Luke Kuechly said X, Y, and Z. He modeled his game behind Luke, but I think once the medicals came out, and I think a lot of Panther fans are understanding, hey, he's older. And, you know, the injury bug that he had to deal with when he was in high school and at NC State. So with Trevin Wallace, I was looking at, you know, I had to do more film breakdown on it. And really, like a lot of people are using the metaphor for him, he's a junkyard dog. He's the type of player. You got some money, Tony and CJ. I want to read that before I continue to go on.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Stevie the Bull for the $4.99 super chat. We appreciate you. It says running back Hall for the Jets tore ACL, clean tear late in the year before the last. In the last year, he was walking, killing. Week 2. Okay, all right. So going back to the ACL tear for Brooks, and you know it is the fact recovery times are different. You know, past until to how they are now. But they said it is a clean tear, so we'll see how it goes. But Stevie the Bull, we appreciate you.
Yeah, we appreciate you, dog.
Like I said, I ain't gonna hold it up because I know we got a full panel, but I love the pick. He's very raw. Again, I'm gonna use Rashad and Dave's term. They use patience. He does not have to come in and do anything immediately. He can be a rotational piece. He can learn from Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell. Regardless of how Panther Nation, some fans feel about Shaq Thompson, he's been on this team. He's a great leader. Every coach that he's played for say he's a great leader. And I think he can learn that leadership role behind Shaq Thompson. One of his weaknesses is he can't do play recognition. So that's one thing I think if he can get in the classroom, talk to these veterans and help him out, I think we got our linebacker of the future. This is another future pick for, you know, rotational piece right now, but a future Panther for years to come.
Okay. CD.
Yep, I like to be honest when I don't know what's happening sometimes, and sure enough, this pick surprised me. So I think I was in the boat with Peyton Wilson, Cedric Gray, Cooper, which I know Cooper was already off the board. And it's funny, like as these draft picks come in, like we have a 13-year-old, and he's asking me every single draft pick, "What about this guy? What do you know about this guy?" And I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't know that much about him." But I wanted to shout out to your point, Doug, that you were talking about the top 30 visit, because I went back on X. I don't know which account posted it, but they had found like an Instagram story, and sure enough, he had made a visit, which I was like blown away by that somebody was able to find that. But after sitting down and watching him, I'm excited for it. I think Doug already said that he's not going to be in here day one or have to start right away, but he brings a really good work ethic. And like, I don't know if you got to hear his introductory presser where he talks about playing high school football games, getting up, finishing at 11 o'clock, going to work at McDonald's where his mom was like the GM at 5 o'clock in the morning. So he just had that work ethic instilled in him, which I'm excited about. So I look forward to seeing what he can do here. I mean, you've got Dan Morgan, who knows linebackers. So I hope that what he scouted and what they saw in him is something that's going to pay off for the Panthers.
Okay. Go ahead, Dave.
Man, I wasn't shocked that we took a linebacker. I thought there were better options here, but then I watched the highlights and I watched some of the games. I'm like, all right, if he gets phenomenal, if he gets some good coaching, man, this dude's gonna be ridiculous. He's just got a lot of. The game's got to slow down for him. I think once the game slows down for him, he's gonna be fine. But like others have said, don't expect him to start immediately. Special teams is probably where it's going to be his call-in initially, and rotational piece potentially. But I like the pick. I'm okay with the pick now because I think I see what they're trying to do. He's a dog. There's no question about that.
Right. Carlo?
Yeah, so I agree with CD is what you call him, right? Carolina Dad, CD. Still in there.
Yeah, CD.
That's it.
So I agree with the man. Like, it was one of the ones where I was like, like I told you earlier, the fans like, okay, yeah, I don't know much about him, but okay, I see the vision. I don't see the vision, but I'm gonna say I see the vision. That's how I felt about it at first. But after kind of looking into it, I consider him the Pat Beverly of the NFL, like the Pat Beverly of our team, right? Pat Beverly is the one that just like a junkyard dog, one who's gonna talk stuff, gonna do a lot. He's that type. If you looked at his press conference or his interview when he finished, he was talking about like, hey, dog mentality to me is like, I'm gonna hurt you on the field, and I'm gonna tell you I'm gonna hurt you, and I'm gonna look down at you, and that's what it is. And I was like, that's somebody that I want on my team. That's who I want, because I don't want to go against that dude, right? So that's the type of dude Trevor Wallace is. Now, granted, is he going to be initial starter? Absolutely not. But I do like his motor and his speed. He has a track background. I can see him being listen to what I'm saying, Luvu-esque in terms of his aggression, his energy. He's going to bring it every play. He's not going to quit on a play. And that's what we're going to be missing from Luvu going to Washington. And so I can see him doing that. And keep in mind, y'all, if y'all like, whoa, what are you talking about? Luvu started off as a special teamer. We got to keep that in mind. Like, he worked his way up to where he is now. Right. And I can see Trevor Wallace doing the same thing. And I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Yeah, man, this is a reach. Not a fan. Especially when it came out. If you look at the positions that were available, I believe TJ Tampa was available. A couple cornerbacks were available. I get it. I like Carlos said, I like his press conference, man. I love a guy that's aggressive and just talk about breaking dudes' legs and all. I love that, man. So I'm here for all that smoke. But in the third round, I just don't. I mean, you talking about a rotational interior guy. I don't know, bro. I'm not really a fan of that. I think this is a big reach. I do think he's going to contribute on special teams. I do think there's going to be a spot for him to match up with some tight ends because he has that athletic ability. Sideline to sideline is very solid. But I do think he needs some tutelage from the great Luke Kuechly for play recognition and things like that. He's got to. There's some things where he's just relying on his athleticism a little bit too much. And so again, it's another one of those things. I said it earlier. This was my point. Let's be clear. This is my point where I said patience, right? This is one of those where you have to wait and see what you get over the next. He be, the heir apparent to Shaq, maybe. But I don't know. We're gonna have to wait and see.
Hey, Tony, you heard that? That's Shaw's point.
Yeah. I got it.
All right, go ahead, Clay.
I mean, I'm going to piggyback off of Rashad. I didn't like this pick either. I mean, I think this guy's an athletic freak. I think he's got all the potential in the world. His ceiling is enticing for sure. But he still has some weaknesses. He can be over aggressive at sometimes, chasing down tacklers. He misses tackles a lot. But you had Cedric Van Pran right there in your hands to fill that center position. He fits right in the zone scheme. You could have fit him day one. And so, to me, the positional value there just doesn't make sense for an early third round pick either. I even agree with Rashad. TJ Tampa was right there. I was all over TJ Tampa, a guy who can play man zone scheme perfectly, fits right into Evero's defense. I get that the linebacker play is crucial for the 3-4 scheme, and depth is essential to rebuild this team. But he's going to still need some help on the perimeter. I think his versatility fits the scheme. But again, the guy's an athletic freak. We'll just see if, again, patience. We'll see if it works out.
Okay. Ricky.
Yeah, so I had Trevin was my linebacker 6. He was number 100 overall on my big board. My feel for this situation, and a couple of guys have already alluded to it, is that I think that they loved Edgerrin Cooper. I think that they also really liked Junior Colson, and both of them went prior. So I'm not saying that this is a DJ Johnson situation, because I don't believe in that at all. This guy has shown clear ability to play the position that we drafted him to play and excel at it at times. But I think that it is we need to fill that position type of move. And I think that they probably did reach here from a value standpoint. All of that won't matter, though, if they can actually develop him into the player that he's shown flashes of being. Where I have my concerns with him, and these were my notes on him for scouting him, was he had a lot of drop zone assignment. So his coverage ability is really difficult to project. We saw him at the Senior Bowl. He showed a lot of athleticism to be able to be a man coverage and be able to take tight ends up the seam. I still think that the lack of ball production is worth being a little bit concerned about. As far as his sacks, he did have 5 sacks in 2023. 4 of them came in the first 3 games against non-conference opponents. After that, his pressures dropped pretty significantly. I think that he can still offer some of that from the off-ball backer position, but I don't think that that's necessarily where we should see him make an impact early. I do appreciate this take patience approach that a lot of fans, and at least all the guys on this panel are bringing up. I think it's fair to say that, but I would have loved, right, and this is just me personally, I would have loved to have come out of one of these first 3 picks saying this guy right here seems like he's going to make an immediate impact and he's ready to start right away.
You sound just like Shad, man.
Because I do want I want that though, right? Like I looked at the Rams draft last year, and everyone points to Puka Nacua and how great that pick was, but their first 3 picks produced for them and started for them right away. It didn't matter that they were 2nd and 3rd round picks because they didn't have a first last year either. You got to nail some picks, and an eye on the future is terrific, but the way you really win is by getting an instant contributor that also plays for a long time and contributes at that high level. So Trevin gives me a little bit of pause. I would have taken him later, but hey, look, it's all about development and coaching and things like that now. Dave made a great point. If it can slow down for him, the kid's got all the juice in the world. But can it slow down? Because that's on our coaching staff to develop a player.
And real quick before y'all go, I don't know if y'all was doing this. We streamed over 30 hours of the draft. But how many times did we say, man, that's a great pick for XYZ, the Eagles. Yeah, man, that's a great pick for great fit for the Ravens. And I just did not have that in this draft. I just didn't. And so, Ricky, it's a great point, man. Within those first 3 rounds, you want to see somebody's going to jump right in. And I'm hoping, just because, listen, I'm scoring. I'm scorned. Like we all as Panthers fans, we've been burned so much, and we just want to see some wins instantly. But as a responsible YouTuber and a content creator for the Panthers, we got to be patient, bro. We just got to be patient and see what happens. We got to separate these regimes and allow Canellis to develop. This is not Matt Rule. This is not Rivera. Separate it and let them cook, and hopefully it'll work out this time.
That's right.
And on that note, I got to drop, man. It's great. This is great stuff. Hey, keep these roundtables up. Keep the content. Stay positive, everybody. This is great stuff. It gets crazy out in these streets with the content creators. A lot of stuff be happening. A lot of bickering and all that. Hey, listen, keep it content. Keep it G. I love y'all. This is dope. Good stuff. And I see y'all in the next one, man. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate the invite. I'm out. Anybody else who want me to come on the show, I'm down anytime. Hit me up. And another larger roundtable is going to be coming soon. I got y'all. All right. That being said, I'm out. Thank y'all.
Be safe, man.
Yep.
All right.
All right, Sean.
Right.
So
okay.
I had a question, CJ, if that's okay. If I can ask a question.
Go ahead.
So first off, Ricky, go ahead and pass the offering plate because you were preaching, my boy.
I appreciate you.
But one thing I want to say is like, okay, we talked about.
Anybody got no organ music? I'm waiting for the organ to drop.
I need that. That's my next sound piece. I need to hit the organ.
I'll wait for the organ to drop.
I had to applaud, but that wasn't enough for what Pastor Ricky did right there. But question for you all: like we talked about separating the different regimes. Do y'all feel as though this is the last time that we're going to see the scouting team that we saw? Because this is the same scouting team that we've had for the previous regime,
right?
Do you feel as though that we're going to have a new regime moving forward? Because this is the same team, the same scouting team that has scouted for the last couple of years. What do y'all think?
Yeah, and typically it is after the draft, right? Even when you have a coaching change, because they've already done a lot of the pre-draft work and a lot of the scouting write-ups and things like that. I think that it would be fair to clean house essentially in that department because of the track record that we've had recently. It has been really, really bad. But hey, Dan Morgan may have an affinity for a lot of these guys. He's been on the road with them. He's done a lot of stuff with them. So he may have, if the reports are true that Fitterer was a bit more one-man show when it came time to draft and that he disregarded a lot of his scouting department, if that is the truth, then maybe Dan says, hey, look, we were right about a lot of stuff and Scott was wrong. So maybe he gives them another year or two.
Okay. All right.
That's a very good point. Hey, hold on, Tony. Before we get going, I wanted to welcome Alex Bryant into the building with us. And Alex, I apologize, a little bit of scheduling snafu. He's been patiently waiting, with us for a while. So I wanted to go ahead and introduce yourself and go before anybody else goes. Go ahead and give us your thoughts on Trevin Wallace here.
I am not the best person to ask about these kind of things, especially with Dan Morgan hitting on linebacker time after time after time. He was a linebacker. I'm this one specifically, I'm going to leave it to him that he knows better than I do. I kind of thought that we were going to draft a linebacker ahead of time because I think it's a huge need for us, especially in an Evero system. And watching tape, man, he looks explosive. He has high IQ. I'm down with him until I see anything different. I think that I personally would have liked to see Peyton Wilson there, but I'm not going to doubt that guy. And hey, guys, I'm Alex. People that don't know me.
You're good, Alex.
I can't believe y'all let him on here, man. The quality of this show has just dropped dramatically with this guy.
I was like, oh my god, he's gonna so much.
Hey, Alex, it be your own people, don't it?
Yeah. Look, I gotta give him a hard time, man. I'm happy to see him on here. What's up, buddy?
Hey, that's what's up.
Yeah.
All right, now y'all got to remind who was next on Trevin Wallace? Was it Quan?
I didn't go yet.
Okay, go ahead, Quan.
Hey, well, going back to my initial thoughts, I had no idea who the hell this guy was, to be real with you, man. I was one of those guys like, okay, if you want to take a linebacker here at 72, Peyton Wilson is definitely sliding, man. He was sliding, so I thought we would take him. Of course, I didn't really know too much about the injury stuff, so they must have had more information than me. So, well, obviously they have more information than me. They're pros. So, I mean, that just tells you what I know, man. But I also, agree with the Cedric Van Pran pick as well. He was another position of need sitting right there. Van Pran is a day one starter. We don't really have an official center on the roster. So there you go. You fill that hole right there. But yeah, I mean, just going back to it, I didn't know who he was. I didn't know how to feel about the pick. Initially, I was kind of getting like, okay, is this another DJ Johnson kind of pick? So I had to do my little, I had to do my homework, go behind the scenes and stuff, and really just figure out who this guy is. Why did they take him at this position? In the draft. So I mean, what really won me over with him was his press conference when he really, he came out. He said, "The dog mentality is, to hurt you, and I'm gonna let you know about it." And I like players like that. What I mean, like aggressive players. Mouthy, whatever. Say a guy that go out there and just lay it all on the line. So, I mean, another thing I observed with this guy, like he has really good play diagnosis too. Once he finds the open gap, especially if he is unblocked, I mean, he's in there like lightning. Man, it was like a 10-yard difference. Yeah, it was like a 10-yard difference that I saw. He was unblocked, of course. It was a 10-yard difference to the quarterback. He got there in like 2.5 seconds. So I mean, he has crazy speed downhill. And like y'all was saying, man, he could probably be a early, special teams kind of guy. He might show some flashy plays on special teams. And then maybe like Carlo said, you could probably work him up like a Luvu. Like maybe he could be that guy later on. I mean, of course, to me, this is definitely a developmental pick right here. I don't think he's going to be like a day one starter. Of course, he's probably going to come in here, like I said, be like special teams. But I do like the potential of this guy after I was looking at his tape. Yeah, he does have some issues like missing tackles and stuff because of how aggressive he comes downhill. But I do think, saying like y'all were saying, with the right coaching, he'll be just fine. Man, I think this was a nice piece to add to our defense. The type of aggression that we come with. So I mean, I'm gonna wait and see what he can be, but I mean, I like the potential. But again, I do think there was more needs here at this pick.
Okay.
Hey, before we move on, I want to piggyback off that question that Carlo asked earlier about the scouting department. I know a lot has been said about the scouting department for the past 2 or 3 years, and it really hasn't gotten any good reviews. Let's say that. But at the end of the day, do you think, and anybody can answer this? Do y'all think that too much is being on the scouting department? Because the reason why I asked that, when it comes to draft day, when it comes to signing undrafted free agents or free agency period, the scouts can come to you with a tablet with 1,000 names. It's really going to be up to the general manager, assistant general manager, head coach, for them guys to say, okay, yeah, we're going to pull the trigger on this guy. We're going to pull the trigger on that guy. We don't want this guy. So is it equally, should the blame be spread out equally amongst the scouting department and the GM, as opposed to the scouting department getting so much I don't want to say hatred, but they get a bad grade.
Are you
They get a lot of flack, right?
Are you talking about just with Trevin Wallace, or just in general?
No, I'm just talking about in general, because in general for the past 3 or 4 years, that's one thing about the scouting department, that they have caught a lot of flack because not being good. People saying that they just looking at mid players or scouting mid players. I think they go out and scout. I forgot the lead scout name, but I remember him saying in one press conference they had scouted. I'm sorry, they had scouted over like 1,300 players, and then they tried to condense it down, to formula it down, or what have you. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, regardless of who they scout, it's still up to the GM or the head coach when it comes to making these draft picks or signing these undrafted free agents. So I'm saying, should they carry the same amount of blame as far as the type of production, type of players that we have brought in to the organization over the past 3 or 4 years?
I'll say one thing on this is that, so I'm a data guy, right? So I've gone through all the data of like all the years that Canales has been in the NFL and all that Morgan has. So when Fitterer first came to the Panthers, he was running it like the Seahawks. He kept on trading back, more players, more picks, more players. And then it felt like in 2021, everything shifted where it was aggressive. And I don't know if there's Matt Rule caring about his job, Tepper getting in the way, all this kind of stuff. But that's when we started tanking. Like it was overcorrecting, like pushing up. And now I feel like Tepper's kind of taking a step back and allowing Dan to do this kind of stuff. And I will say with because you see the trade back, so you saw trading back with the Rams, trading up. Them in Seattle have traded back 15 times when they were in Seattle together, and they traded up twice. Those 2 times they traded up was Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. So if they can run this the same way as they were running with Seattle and have conviction on guys and actually are trading up for guys that they love and not because they're looking to save their jobs, I kind of want to give them a year to see if they are actually scouting correctly and they're not just kind of pressing to win too fast. That's I don't know if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, I think a lot of it had to do with they were overzealous when it came to trying to get a quarterback. Instead of drafting a quarterback, we wasted a lot of draft capital on quarterbacks that didn't even pan out for us. We talking about Baker Mayfield, Teddy Bridgewater, Sam Darnold. I mean, when you just think about the draft capital that was given up just to get those 3, you can arguably say that kind of set us back a little bit because each year we're banking on these quarterbacks, to give them new life, but we're giving them all this money and we're giving them draft capital to get them. Now that we have a quarterback, hopefully, those things turn around because we don't have to use so much resources to get what we have now that we have been trying to get for the past 3 or 4 years, if that makes sense.
I agree with that 1,000%. Something in the past 3 years was we got to immediately be good instead of trusting the process and doing. Sorry, I live in New York. I don't know if you can hear all those sirens. Also, everything you see on the news is exactly right. I live right across the street from City College. Protests are insane. Go ahead.
We got you. Okay.
Hey, be safe out there, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, be safe out there.
All right.
Go ahead,
cool.
CJ.
Let's go ahead and slide on to our 4th round pick, or first pick of the 4th round, pick 101, Tavion Sanders. All right. 2023 stats, 45 receptions, 682 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And I'm going to start this one off real quick. I like this pick. I think he's going to bring a lot of value to the tight end room. Hopefully, if you watch us hit 2 fans in the stands, there's a certain tight end that we kind of hope, maybe he pushes out of the way, out of the tight end room. I think there's a lot of wiggle room here because all of our tight ends are basically on 1-year deals, except for when this young man right here signs. So we could see a shakeup, and me personally, I hope we do. So I'll leave it at that. But CD, go ahead.
Sorry, trying to get through there. Good.
You good.
Yeah, I think another playmaker for Bryce Young. And as we were sitting here, getting prepared for this to talk about Saunders, I'm excited about it. I know the downside of him, whether it's blocking, he's got to work on that. Maybe not so great at the line of scrimmage, but I do think he's here to challenge Tommy Tremble. Like, I think it's Tommy Tremble's job right now. So you probably could say Ian Thomas, maybe that's who he's battling for. But I was going back to look and see in Panthers history, outside of Greg Olsen and Wesley Walls, we have not had a tight end with 500 receiving yards, which is very minimal in my opinion. And for me, what I've been saying is, like, since he's been drafted, I was like, I don't think it's going to be this year, but ideally, can we get a 500 receiving yard tight end, a target for Bryce Young? But yeah, I'm a fan of this. I think it was a steal, honestly, that he was still available. I know even at the start of this round, I went live and you had TJ Tampa still there, a few other receivers still on the board. But I'm a fan of the pick. I like, again, the continued investment into giving Bryce Young some weapons that can grow alongside with him.
All right. Yeah. Dave?
I think this was the best value pick of the draft. I think I know the guy you guys want off the roster, and I'm here to tell you, you're about to be sorely disappointed. Although they all have 1-year deals yet left, they're gonna keep at least 3 or 4 of these guys. So I think the guy that you want to keep, the guy that you want out the paint, is gonna at least be here for another year. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I think this was the best value pick of the draft.
What and Dave, I don't think we're not gonna be disappointed because I think we know that too, but we're just we're holding out hope at this point.
Unless we get some more tight ends here, man. Like I look, we did a not so a too early 53 to talk about who are locks, and unfortunately, everybody's favorite tight end is pretty much a lock at this rate. Shout out to Twan Don in the chat too.
Okay. All right, bet. Carlo.
All right, go ahead, Carlo.
All right. So completely agree with CD there. This was a close one, right? I feel like JB was a really that was a big draft pick because we were able to get a second round pick. But in terms of value, I got to go with JT Sanders right here. The biggest thing that we have to keep in mind, Dave Canales said this in the beginning of, before we even got to the combine. He's big on making sure that every position is going to be competitive. We want to have a competitive team. And so this is really going to make Trimble either step up to the plate. They say piss or get off the pot, right? Like this is an opportunity for Trimble to take the next step. And if he doesn't, I think this is an opportunity for him to get going. Not get going, but he's going to Sanders is going to take that position or that starting lineup, excuse me. The other thing too, I think the biggest thing that we have to think about, I see a lot of people in the chat saying Sullivan's going. I do think that this is a Target version of Sullivan. There's a difference between Walmart and Target, right? Walmart, shout out to people who love Walmart, right? Walmart is a lot different from Target. I'm a Target guy. I like to go to Target. That's the place I shop. And Sanders is that Target version of what I see as what Sullivan can be, right? Blocking, I think that's a coachable thing. I think he will get better at blocking so that we can do those, 2 tight end sets with a Trimble, with a Sanders, or with a Ian Thomas and with the Sanders. I think that he's going to do a lot better than what we've seen him do because he's going to get a lot of more options. They always say that a tight end is a rookie quarterback's best friend. We don't have a rookie quarterback anymore, but we do have a young quarterback. And I think that Sanders is going to be a good, reliable, and viable option for him moving forward.
Okay.
Go ahead, Clay.
Yeah, I thought this was actually the steal for our draft, honestly. This guy's got some serious moves, got some speed to attack defenses. I mean, we haven't had a guy in this tight end room since Greg Olsen. So this guy is a downfield route running. His top notch. His hands are silky smooth. He drops a few passes in 2022, then comes out and says he's going to work hard. And then he was one of the 8 FBS tight ends that didn't drop a single pass in 2023. So he isn't perfect. It's just like Carlo said, he's still got work to do when it comes to blocking. His footwork and route running skills still need a little bit of work, but has plenty of development. Plus he's already has the top contested catching grade by PFF, best among all tight ends in this draft class. So some serious potential there. Again, still needs to work on some run blocking skills, but that's okay because I mean the Panthers again have been looking for a weapon like this guy when it comes to passing. And I think he's going to be a valuable addition to this team.
Okay.
All right. Ricky.
It's an interesting pick to me. I think that the Canales quote that everyone remembers about wanting a Swiss Army knife in the tight end room and wanting to add that into the room, I don't think that Jatavion Sanders is a Swiss Army knife. I think that he is a specialist at the position. I think that he is a pass-catching player out of the tight end alignment. His lead blocking is not terrific in space. I think that he's adequate enough at blocking to handle inline combo blocks. But if you were to run 11 personnel, which Canales ran a lot, I don't think that Ja'Tavion Sanders sees a lot of action early in that 11 personnel because I don't think that you can rely on him to be an inline blocker. I think that that's Tremble's job as tight end one. Sanders, as somebody mentioned earlier, I think it was a good point to bring up Stephen Sullivan. I think that his addition actually impacts Sullivan much more than it impacts Ian Thomas. I think that Ian Thomas still is going to end up being tight end 3 almost by default because of how much they want to involve Sanders in the offensive game plan. But it's going to take some serious prove it skills from Sanders, in my opinion. I don't see a terrific route runner at the position. He's got a lot of speed for his position and his size, but he is undersized, man. He's 6'3", 245. He doesn't have the longest arms. He's got huge hands. I believe his nickname is Man Hands, and they did a special on him on ESPN about him with his one-handed catching.
I'm not going there.
Look, man, he's a really strong-handed receiver. He's a sure-handed possession receiver. But I do have some legitimate questions about his ability to run routes at all 3 levels. If he's more of a safety blanket dump-off option, then he's a good option at that because he's going to be able to make tough catches. I think that his rack ability, being more physical, also plays well. He's not a terrific lateral mover, in my opinion. But I did think that it was a pretty solid value. He was number 74 overall on my board, my tight end 4. So getting him at 101, I totally understand the selection. It's just another one of those be patient things, and I just hope that everyone has a whole lot of patience.
Right. Go ahead, Quan.
Yeah, this was my favorite pick of the draft, man. Especially for the value. Coming out of the draft, I had him rated as my second highest tight end on the board. Of course, behind Brock Bowers. But I love this pick. I had him on several mock drafts as well, where I did different trade scenarios, got him at like 40-something and 50-something and stuff like that. So Ja'Tavion Sanders falling all the way to 101. I think that is a terrific pick, especially right here for this value, especially what Dave Canales has done in his past and what I'm anticipating him to bring to Carolina. I kind of looked at his tape with the playoffs against guys like Detroit and Philadelphia and what he brought to his offensive scheme. And I noticed that he used the tight ends a lot, like with the screen game, whether it was like crosser routes or things like that. I feel like you can implement this guy with mesh concepts and stuff like that. Slowly implement him into like the screen game or whatever you want to do, because Dave Canales does speak on having his offense create versatility for everybody's touching the ball. So I don't think he has to take on a big role. Obviously, you got Ian Thomas that y'all spoke of, and then of course Tommy Tremble, who has proven himself as a receiving tight end and being able to block. I don't think he has to do too much. I don't think he's going to take like a massive role in this offense, but I do like, for this value, early on, he's going to, show a little bit of flashes here and there, probably. I don't think they'll utilize him a lot, but I do think he can be productive coming into this offense. But it's going to be interesting to see him. You also mentioned his route tree. His route tree is it's not as sharp. He don't have like sharp cuts out of his routes, especially in the second level, like you mentioned earlier. But he does have nice speed, especially like again mentioned the crosser routes as well. I mean, he can use his speed to kind of just go across the field. Bryce Young can hit you in stride. He does have some amazing tape with his rack ability as well. He can run at the catch. He's very feisty. He'll throw a stiff arm here and there. So yeah, he got big playmaking ability, but I think they'll slowly develop him into the offense. But like you said, it's going to be like a strong prove it kind of position for him, especially if he's going to try to work his way up the depth chart.
Okay. Hey, and real quick, Clint O with the $5 super chat. He said, appreciate it, fellas. Refreshing having so many great opinions on one panel. I'm overly excited for Panther Nation, man. Keep pounding, man. Hey, appreciate you, Clint.
Appreciate you, Clint.
Yeah. All right, Doug, you up, buddy? All right, well, go ahead, Alex. We'll go back to Doug.
No, I'm here. My bad. I was on mute. I was actually talking. I was saying I'm not going to repeat everything because we have some great minds and great opinions on here. Only thing I would say is when Cam Newton needed a tight end, who did he have? He had Greg Olsen. And one thing that I think we were spoiled as Panther fans, we have not had that replacement since Greg Olsen. And I'm not comparing Sanders to Greg Olsen, but could this be the next best thing, being Bryce Young's underneath, first read outside of the running back that can help him? Because again, if you look at it, whenever Camden want to look downfield, he can dump a pass off, and Greg Olsen wasn't the fastest, but he can take a little dump off at least 20-some yards. So for me, I think it's a great addition. Again, one thing I did on my channel is saying Dan Morgan drafted for the future of this offense. And I think this is another feature piece going into a new regime underneath a new coach. And again, this is another player that had a top 30 visit. I think top 30 visits were very important for certain players outside of us thinking. It had to be something there. I understand he doesn't have the metrics of Greg Olsen, which was a 6'5" tight end. He is 6'3". Ricky did just say something about that. So what I'm looking at is, for me, what can he bring to the table that we did not have? Ian Thomas is a great blocker, but he can't catch. Tommy Trimble hasn't seen production, in and out. He needed more time. I really think one thing Quan just said is, whenever you do see like one-on-one with smaller corners, he does expose it. It's almost like you throwing a lob ball up, or what CJ says, you lobbed it up there and I had to, slam dunk it. He has that ability to do that because of his hands. When you have 10, I think it's at 10 3/4. I said it on Quan's channel earlier. That's massive hands. Like that 10 anything in somebody's hands for measurement is huge. So I like the addition. I think everybody was happy about it because of the value and how he fell and where he was supposed to be picked. So I think overall, right now, with the picks we're talking about, this was the best value pick out of all the picks right now, because how far he fell down the board and where we were able to take him to add another weapon on the offensive side of the ball.
Okay, Alex.
Yeah, so I think that they were going to take whoever was the best player available at tight end on the board. But this guy being still available at tight end on the board is, I think I agree with everybody else. The value of this pick is phenomenal. If you look, Cade Otton basically had a breakout year with Canales last year, right? If you look at both of their draft profiles, they're almost identical, like literally almost identical draft profiles. Both had concerns about blocking, but they're both willing blockers. They just don't have. They're more willing than actually ability.
Technically sound.
Yeah, to do blocking duties. And Canales found Otton. Otton made some insanely good plays last year, and I think he sees a little bit of Otton in Sanders. And thing that basically what the Seahawks have done for the entire time they were there is death taxes and getting tight ends in the fourth round. So I think they were always getting tight ends in the fourth round here, but to get him, I think this was amazing value.
Okay. All right. Cool beans. All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and slide on to. Am I saying this right? Is it Sha or Show?
Shaw.
Hey guys.
Yeah.
I gotta roll out as well. This was fun, guys. You guys have a lovely evening and y'all enjoy the night, all right?
All right, man.
Appreciate you, man.
No question, man.
Thank
Y'all
you,
have a good
sir.
night.
All right.
You too, boss.
All right.
All right. So what?
Yeah, Shaw Smith Wade.
Yeah. Okay.
Shaw
Smith Wade. Shaw. Got you. All right. Round 5, pick 157. 2023 stats: 36 total tackles, 6 passes defended, 2 forced fumbles. All right. We'll start at the bottom again this time. Alex, you go ahead and go first. I'm gonna give your thoughts on this pick here.
Yeah, sorry if I cut out, it's because I don't know what's going on with my mic. I have to keep on coming back in, and just let me know if my mouth is moving and words are coming out.
You're good.
This is sort of like linebacker for me with Evero. Evero with cornerback, I just trust him. I would have loved to have other guys here. I would have also loved to take corner earlier, but Evero has earned my trust in him and what he sees in corners, and I'm gonna trust him with it. I like the dog in this guy, I guess, but he is super undersized. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it with who was on the board at that time, but again, I'm just gonna trust Evero.
Okay.
All right, Doug.
Doug, you
All
on
right, go
mute
ahead,
again?
Quan. We'll come at it, Doug.
This pick right here, man. This was another. I don't know, man. This
I'll go out
guy.
the corner. My bad, fellas. I was in the washroom. Go ahead, Quan.
Hold on, Doug. Go ahead, Quan.
No, I was telling Quan to go ahead, Tony. He can go ahead. I'll go after Quan.
But yeah, this guy, man. I feel like he was really just like the best corner there. Obviously, they were trying not to come out this draft without a corner, and he was really just like the best available at this position. So, I mean, you had guys like TJ Tampa really just sliding all the way down the board, which was crazy to me, and we had multiple chances to get him. But we ended up landing with this guy. Now, I see him as a nickel corner. Obviously, we got Troy Hill and we got Zane Jackson from LA Rams. I don't know where he will fit in with the defense as of right now. Maybe he's another developmental piece. I do like his tackling ability though. He can come down, he can lay the wood. He's a very short tackler. After looking at the tape, a very handsy guy in man coverage. Like he's very handsy, so that's gonna have to be worked on as well. But overall, I mean, he kind of gives me the vibes of Corn Elder, like a very good tackler, but just questionable everywhere else. I don't know where they'll fit him in coming in his rookie season. I'm just kind of waiting and seeing with this guy.
Okay. All
Okay.
right. Bet.
All right,
Rick.
my bad, fellas.
I'm sorry, Doug. My bad. Go ahead.
No,
Go
it's real quick. It's real quick because, like I said, I wasn't ready whenever y'all called upon me. I would say this. This is the first pick I would say I was very upset with. Tony and CJ went live that day and they were messing with me. Your boy's up there. My boy was TJ Tampa. I thought we were going to draft TJ Tampa. I mean, he was literally there, and I'm getting excited. This, and that, and I'm like, hold on, what? Like, I mean, like. I didn't even know what to say. I'm like, we chose him out of TJ Tampa. And again, like for me,
TJ Tampa was gone at this point.
TJ Tampa was gone right here?
Yeah, he was gone.
Okay, so my bad. Okay. So what I will say is I still was upset because we could have got TJ Tampa. But I think the Panthers fell in love with his Senior Bowl film. Quan just went live and showed it, and his Senior Bowl film was definitely great film. But one thing that we laugh about rock hands. He had rock hands. You had 9 PBUs, and if you see most of his PBUs, they were clear picks that he should have been able to pick off. I think one thing that he does, he won't be an outside corner. He'll be definitely a nickel corner. I think he will be the replacement for Troy Hill. For me, like I said, I'm not going to be too upset, but I definitely thought we could have got TJ Tampa. I know Cam Hart was still in this area as well, even though he may have been drafted above or behind. But almost, I think also wasn't me and my Pritchett, wasn't he drafted this round too? Because I know that's Tony's guy from Auburn. But like I said, for me, it's just like I said, I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, he's a Panther now. I'm definitely trying to see the positives out of him. But this particular position right here, I was very questioning it whenever we possibly could have got a corner that fell from a early day 2 pick to a day 3 pick where we just chose somebody that can be a nickel quarter and we know we need corner depth. But I will say that still does leave the option of Stephon Gilmore being a Panther. Who knows?
Yeah, real quick, real fast, because I just think this is important for people that are listening. Evero just doesn't he's like, just give me anybody. Like in 2020, they drafted the first corner at 104, 2021, first corner at 130, 2022, 115, 2023, 145. Like he never drafts corners early. He's just like, give me whoever and I'll make them work. So the expectation for me wasn't that they were going to draft a corner only because of that until the run on corners started happening. And I was like, oh, I probably should get one of these guys. But yeah, I just want to give you that background information.
Appreciate you. All right, Ricky.
So for me, chose Smith-Wade, and I hear everyone saying like he's going to be nickel. I think I'll put back a little bit on that because he played the boundary about 97% of snaps at Washington State.
Facts.
He's not a natural nickel. I think that his size lends everyone to believe that that's where he'll be deployed, and it may very well end up being where they feel safest with him. But that's kind of why I have the trepidation that I have with this selection. When I was looking at the board, there were guys like Kalen Carson out of Wake Forest that we also had our local visit with. DJ James out of Auburn was also on the board. And then if you were to look at two other positions, Christian Boyd, the defensive tackle out of Northern Iowa, he was there and we visited with him. So when you look at selecting the next guy, and you guys will talk about that, Christian Boyd was a guy that maybe had more value there and that I know that we liked. But then Mo Kamara is the guy that stood out for me at this place that we just passed over.
Yes,
and not selecting, not selecting any kind of edge player in this draft. So that's where my curiosity began with this. But as far as Joseph Wade, man, I mean, look, he's a tough guy. He's a team leader. He's very willing in run support. He's not overly effective because of his diminutive frame, but he will go out there and get it. I do worry about the fact that they said they wanted these ball hawks and they want to put an emphasis on taking the ball away on defense. I didn't think that we got a lot of guys that had that production. And I wish that we had seen a little bit more results from some of these guys, as opposed to a lot of these being projection-based picks. I'm going to trust the defensive staff. I don't think that Cho gets a huge role initially. It also just feels a little bit like a logjam there with Jamie Robinson, Troy Hill, Cho Smith-Wade, Deshaun Jameson. I just worry about what happens. They must have a ton of faith, man. And what this really told me, they got a lot of faith in Dane Jackson and in DiCaprio Bootle. They really like those two players, because there is no way that they walked out of this draft without getting any kind of boundary corners if they didn't feel really good about those two guys.
Hey, Ricky, when you say that, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I want to say, was it Evero's presser or it was Dan's presser when they said that they've both been in contact with each other since he got drafted. And for me, that's like, hey, if I'm not mistaken, Dan Jackson was going to get drafted to the Rams. Am I saying that right? Whenever Evero's their DC.
Dane Jackson? You're talking about the guy that we signed at the agency?
Yeah, no, I'm saying I know we just signed him, but I think the Rams are going to draft him whenever Dan was a rookie, if I'm not mistaken. That's how him and Evero has changed numbers and been in contact with each other ever since he was been in the league. I think I'm correct on that.
Oh, and, I hadn't heard that one. I know that he's got the history with Dan Morgan because they drafted him in Buffalo. Yeah, but I didn't know that he had history with Evero as well. I had not seen that.
Yeah, he actually said it. I want to say he said it that he's had his number ever since he's been in the league. And for me,
they mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, so where I think that I do agree with you on that, because they have to be high on it, but Dan Morgan had to be high on him because he was at Buffalo. But it also made sense that with Evero, and I'm gonna give Alex his credit right there, because if Evero wasn't high on a corner, it's a reason why they believe Dan Jackson possibly can be that number 2. And the good thing about it is him coming out, they said that he was option number 3, but they also think if he went to the right team, the right scheme, he can be a great number 2 guy, not a number 1 guy.
Well, Evero runs a lot of zone schemes or zone coverages on the back end, and that's where Dane Jackson can excel way more than in man press coverage. But for me, again, man, I just go back to DiCaprio Bootle, though, because if you're looking at J.C. Horn, he has not stayed healthy for a single season. So if you have Dane Jackson that has to slide over and take over that cornerback 1 position, you're not putting Troy Hill, you're not putting Cho Smith-Wade, you're not putting Deshaun Jameson out there at cornerback 2 on the other boundary. It is going to be DiCaprio Bootle. So for the fact that they did not solidify that specific alignment of that position tells me that they really like Bootle, man.
Yeah. And to cap off everything, to cap off everything that everybody is saying, in any defensive scheme, the best scheme to hide your corners and to protect your corners is the cover 2 zone. Because when you got safeties over the top, covering a quarter of the field. So maybe I don't know. Back to what Alice was saying earlier, as far as Evero not putting the premium on cornerbacks, maybe that's the reason why, because he runs a lot of cover 2 zone. And last year, the only time that we really got in trouble was when we tried to bring a safety down in the box, and now we was in cover 3 single high. And every time we got hit over the top. But when we stayed in that cover 2, the 2 high shell, we kept everything in front of us and we didn't allow anything over the top or behind us. But in that defensive scheme, that's the best way to protect a corner is in that cover 2.
And fellas, I'm gonna have to do what Dave and Rashad did earlier. I'm gonna have to skate on out. I appreciate very much having me here tonight, man. This is a ton of fun.
Hey,
Anytime you guys do it again, man, holler at me.
Appreciate you, Ricky.
Shout out to you, man.
Man. Thank you for coming, man.
Here, man.
Thank you, guys.
Be safe.
Clay, I think you were next, Clay.
Yeah. Yeah, a pick that I still kind of question a little bit. I mean, again, it's just like what Ricky said. I mean, he kind of took words right out of my mouth, but I will say the kid does have some versatility. He can play in both man zone coverage. He's got great vision. Spacing when he's in zone is good. I mean, he excels in press coverage. He uses his footwork, great lateral movement, great hips, twitch. He's got a great twitch movement which gives him a lot of advantage. I think that one thing is that his high pad level can sometimes cause him some issues in off coverage. He does lack that ideal size when it comes to NFL corners. And it appears mainly in the run game. He's not scared in the run game, but his size hurts him
at all. He's not scared at all.
No. So he's quick to identify the runs, the screens. He comes downhill, great aggressiveness, quickness. He beats the blocks in space. He does a great job of getting the ball carrier on the ground. He showed a lot of that versatility in the Senior Bowl, outside and nickel. But I think due to his lack of length, the nickel position is probably going to be the best fit for him.
Okay. Carlo.
Yeah, I would say this is another one that I didn't know much about until I did some research on it. I would say that his tackling reminds me of Dante Jackson, and I hope that doesn't give anybody PTSD. But Dante Jackson was a pretty solid tackler towards the end of his Panther career, right? And so if I'm thinking about what I saw on film, he's a great tackler. He does not have the speed of a Dante Jackson, but I think I can't remember who said it. It might have been Ricky, but most of his time was spent as being an outside corner, right? He learned slot 3 days before going, or 3 days while he was
Senior
at
Bowl.
Right. And so and he did well there. So I think there's an opportunity for him to do that if given the opportunity. But even through his interview, he mentioned now how he enjoys doing outside, how he feels as though, like, I don't want to be put in a box. I am a corner through and through. And I think I like that attitude about him. And so I can see him being a really good, hate to say it, but Swiss Army knife in terms of using him in the nickel or using him on the outside. So, I mean, at pick 157, it can get really tricky. I know we talked about DJ James being there and Kalen Carson and all those different players. But like I said in the beginning, we do not know what their boards look like. And we've seen, Israel Evero make lemonade out of beef stew. So I'm curious to see what he's going to do with the Shao.
That's a new one.
Right.
Lemonade. I never heard that. CD, go ahead, man.
Got him in. I think everybody kind of hit it home with this. I was in the same bucket. It felt like, hey, we got to get a cornerback. This is the cornerback that's taken off the board. One of the things when we start getting into these like day 3 picks is we got to hit on some of them. Don't have to hit on everyone, but we really need some of these guys to step up, as everyone has been saying, because when you look at the first group of picks, like maybe, really the first 4 outside of linebacker there with Wallace, like those guys potentially could be competing for starting reps. But you look at kind of the rest of what we have or what we got on the defensive side of the ball, and it's like, rotational piece, special teams contributor, but we need guys that can step up and play. But I think everyone's pretty much, hit it home that seems like Dan, Ejiro, that they've are bought in on what they have at the cornerback position. And I know a lot of the chat's blowing up about Stephon Gilmore. I think that also could be, in the back of their pocket. But yeah, just going to have to sit back and wait. It was funny too. I was thinking he was undersized just from reading. And then a lot of people are bringing up good point that he's like similar size to Dante Jackson. And so I think just seeing what he's going to do, whether he does move inside, play a little more nickel or not. But hey, we'll see how it plays out.
Oh yeah, good. Right, facts. You got anything you want to say on Smith Wade? I said that wrong again.
Nah.
Okay.
Go ahead, man.
All right. Let's go ahead and keep moving here. Okay, Jaden Crumedy. All right, round 6, pick 200. 2023 stats, 35 total tackles, 2.5 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. Okay, see, we're gonna start back with you again, man. Give us your thoughts on Mr. Crumedy here.
All right. So I was reading up a little bit on him today too, and just listening to others talk about him. Hopefully a rotational piece. Like, we need some help on the interior defensive line. I think having someone in there that can move around, help out with the rotation that we have. I mean, it's a guy who hasn't got a lot of production as far as like sacks or tackles for loss, but he's been in college for quite a while. So 6-year man that got his regular degree and then also got his master's degree, I saw today. So I'm, with once I get into like, and I say it on my show, like once we get into like 6th and 7th round picks, it's more or less me like, hey, let's see what these guys can do. And like I just said before, like, can we start hitting on some of these? Because I think that'll help the team in the long run.
Okay. Carlo?
Okay.
No, I think I completely agree with CD. I would say that this man is definitely a super duper senior. Shout out to him getting his master's. I think that's pretty dope.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing I will say about Jaden is that he has a true motor. Like looking at his film, he does not stop until the whistle's blown. One thing we've seen from other people on the team, they will remain nameless because I'm just going to do that for right now. They will make a move and then stop if they don't see an opportunity for them to either get a sack or to get the ball carrier. Jaden doesn't stop from what I've seen from, the film. Now, granted, yes, he only had 2.5 sacks, but some of the tackles and the sacks that he's had, if you look at it on film, this man was double teamed. He doesn't stop. He tries to find a way to get it. And sometimes it's from the quarterback either moving into the pocket some more or just getting out of the pocket and he's not stopping and he just gets to the ball carrier. I think that's pretty dope. I think he's going to be a good rotational piece. And I'm curious to see what the staff will be able to do in terms of coaching him up. So, I mean, for pick 200, we'll see what happens. This is a wait and see. I mean, this whole draft is a wait and see, if we're being honest.
It is. Hey, I just want to say real quick to your point, Carlo, about him and his bull rush. There's a clip of him at the Senior Bowl completely manhandling one of our undrafted free agents at center. And I just feel like if he can get some he can get some moves in releasing, from being engaged with the offensive lineman, we might have something. And real quick, Mr. Hunky Dory, thank you for the $2 super chat. He said Crumedy is not a sacker, but is a pocket disruptor. Hey, you know what? That just might be what we need.
Appreciate it, Mr. Hunky Dory.
Yes, sir. Clay, go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Jaden Crumedy was I was okay with it. Well, I wasn't mad about it. It wasn't like I was just like pissed off about it, but I wasn't like astounded about it, right? Impressive athleticism though, right? A guy who's 6'4", 301, runs a 4.97. I mean, that's athletic off the charts for a guy that size. So nice burst off the ball. Go watch his 10-yard split. It's 1.69 seconds. Regarding his play style, real quick, again, physical, high motor player, takes on blocks with good leverage, great spin. He actually has a decent spin move if you watch his game film when he gets off blocks. So decent quickness for a pass rusher his size. I mean, I think he also has to get able to catch guards off balance as a penetrator on the inline. But there are some areas that he could improve. He often plays with his hands down by his waist. That allows offensive linemen to get to his chest. He has a narrow base when taking on blocks, which he can lead to struggle against down blocks and double teams and stuff like that. Below average length can be a little bit of a disadvantage as an offensive lineman with good hands can place and keep him with the spinning on the inside, but a valuable backup rotational 3 technique type of guy, I think, for right now in the NFL.
Okay, bet. Juan?
I mean, I'll say this, man. I had to do my homework on this guy as well. But looking at the tape, like y'all said, man, he got a crazy motor. That's one thing about this guy. He has a crazy motor. I mean, he absolutely humiliated guys on his tape. Just looking at the disruptiveness that he comes with. I mean, he's like a cannon, man. He shoots out the cannon. I saw him coming off the edge making a play. Saw him coming inside. So I mean, he looks like he has that versatility that Canales speak of so highly. So I like this pick for this value. Just like the other guys on defense, I'm not really expecting too much impact early on in his career, but I do like the upside. I like the potential. And my guy nailed it right on the head, man. With all his things that he need to work on. Another thing I'll add on to that. I saw him kind of coming down with his head down when he was trying to bull rush. I spoke it on my channel. I spoke on it on my channel. That's not going to work against like top tier interior offensive linemen. So he's going to have to work on that coming into the NFL. But I do like the potential for this pick. I'm interested to see where this goes. I mean, I'm not going to really sit here and make too much of a prediction for this guy and what he can be or what he can't be. So, I mean, I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see.
All right, cool. Doug.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna get brownie points from the professor. I call him Professor Tony. One thing I think Tony loves the trenches. With us adding trench type guy, it might have not been the guy he wanted, but for us to actually add to the trenches to help Ashawn Robinson to actually have another bit body to go alongside of a Derrick Brown, I'm really hoping he can come in and take Shot Total's spot. I haven't heard anybody say that whenever they spoke on it. I definitely think Shot Total is a undersized, and I do know Tony, whenever we did talk before, they said he may just played out of position or he didn't play the true position. One thing that they said, or he said, is he's able to play the 4 or 5 technique. One thing that he does, he does have a great, like you guys said, a great spin move. But for me, I think he can take on a double team. Sometimes he doesn't get off of it, but he can take a double team. And I think that goes great with it when you can't double team Derrick Brown. You can't double team Jadeveon Clowney. So one thing he needs to do is definitely, be at the hip beside Ashawn Robinson and Derrick Brown, figure out more tools in that toolbox that he can utilize to help this line go from good to great. So, I mean, it's a decent pick. I think the more and more you look at it, again, you just have to look value in this pick and what traits can they bring and what traits can they gain when you have a pick this late in the draft. So, but now I got to get off, fellas. I got a report at 5 a.m., man. I already told CJ once it hits 10:05, I got to head out here. I got to be up by 5 in the morning, man. So, as always, I always enjoy joining my two big cousins. That's the name I give CJ and Tony. But before I end or head out, definitely make sure you guys hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new to the channel. We have brilliant minds up here. I definitely appreciate Tony and CJ putting this together for us to do a draft recap. I actually met some of these guys on Twitter when we had the little mock draft challenge. It definitely has some things in store with some of these gentlemen. But I definitely appreciate CJ and Tony go ahead and laying that foundation and definitely bringing some great minds alike to talk about the draft. So everybody have a good night. Everybody stay safe. One love.
All right, appreciate you, Doug.
We'll holler at you.
All right, one love. Be safe, man.
All right, bet. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, again, with this pick, I'm just going to trust Evero. This guy gives me the best comp that I found for him was Sebastian Joseph Day, who Evero, when he was in the Rams, they drafted in 2018. Same idea, huge motor, older guy coming out of the draft. More quick off of releases than overall strength. Not a great pass rusher. It's more about getting the energy on the field. And man, I said that over and over and over last year. There just was no energy on the field. There was no, and Morgan says it in
outside
a
of
way.
Derrick Brown,
Yeah, Morgan says it in a different way. He says dogs. I say we just need energy on the field, and you need those kind of guys on the field. And if this guy becomes Sebastian Joseph Day, who was playing in the Super Bowl last year. I'm definitely okay with that. I think he's going to be a more rotational guy, but it seems like it fits what Evero usually has on his team or likes to have on his team. So I'm down with it. Also, when he was drafted, that's when Aaron Donald was going into his extension. So tendencies are tendencies for a reason. So it reminds me of the Sebastian Joseph Day pick at 195 when he got drafted.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Bit.
But you know,
all right.
Y'all know me. I'm all about the trenches, building inside out. Definitely a depth piece, a rotational piece. We've talked about for the past 2 or 3 years that Derek Brown never really had any help opposite side of him. Now we got that. We started last year with Thurman and LeBron Ray. We upgraded, bringing in Ashawn Robinson this year. So when you added Jaden Crumity to that mix, I think we gotten better on the defensive line. For me, I still feel like nose tackle is a position that we should have tackled as well, because everybody knows or should know that the strength of a 3-4 defense is your nose tackle to your middle linebacker on the second level. So we saw what happened last year, the nose tackle position. Shy Tuttle wasn't what a lot of us expected. At least I know not what I expected. So I think there was a massive upgrade that should have been done as nose tackle position. And I don't think we've yet accomplished that.
Okay. Facts. All right. So our last pick, 7th round, pick 240. We have Michael Barrett, linebacker out of Michigan. 2023 stats, 65 total tackles, 3 sacks, 3 forced fumbles. All right, Alex, we'll start with you this time. Give us your thoughts on this gentleman.
Yeah, special teams guy. Maybe he can fill in if we're like getting destroyed a linebacker, kind of like last year. But I think he's a special teams dude. I'm thinking, like basically, guys. I don't really know anything about football. Just to let you know, all I do is like do comparison contrast. Reminds me of Dakota Allen, 2019, drafted by Evero, the Rams. He's gonna be smart guy. He's a winner. He won national championship. He might have won more games than any Michigan player ever.
He did,
right?
He's gonna. The effort's gonna be there. It's just may or may not make the roster, but he's gonna be a good locker room guy, and he's gonna work hard, and that's kind of what you wanted. It's a shot in the dark for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he'll make the roster. I think he's better than the backups that we have to Shaq Thompson and Josie Jewell. I think he's better than Chandler Wooten and Cheerless.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be it's gonna be more of what the special teams does and how well he does there. But because of his effort and his IQ and him playing in his lanes, I think that you could be absolutely right. I think you could definitely easily make the roster.
Yeah.
All right. Quan.
Go ahead, Quan.
I mean, this is meh for me. They double dipped at linebacker. I guess okay, whatever. I was hoping they would if he was gonna double dip anywhere, I was hoping it was gonna be corner. I still wanted that center position. I was kind of bummed at this point, but it is what it is. So I mean, again, this is another one of their guys. I mean, I didn't see him on my board, of course, but it's not really about my board. So I mean, from what I saw on tape, he does tend to get lost, especially like with zone power runs and stuff like that. He gets lost in the bunch. He kind of gets lost in traffic, kind of can get thrown around in blocks. I mean, he's an undersized linebacker. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't really have much opinion on him. I mean, we'll see. Might have special teams written all over him for now. I don't know. I just don't really know too much about this guy other than what I've seen or the little bit that I did see, man. But on the upside, he did. He won a national championship. He plays with a high motor. He definitely plays with a high motor. When he does get in position to make a good tackle, he can definitely secure a tackle. So that's another upside of him. So overall, man, he's just another guy. I mean, whatever, man. We'll see.
Gotcha.
All right, go ahead, Clay.
Michael Barrett. Welcome to the special teams. He's got speed. He's got moves. He's got physicals. I mean, he's got great open field tackles, but he's a special teams guy at the end of the day. I will say when I watch his tape, he is very good in man coverage against tight ends. And he's effective when playing underneath in zones. But the biggest issues for him is that he struggles against the run. And he really doesn't have that ideal NFL linebacker size. And so another thing, I think the reason why he also failed is he's 25 years old. So he's an older prospect. So I think if you're looking for a linebacker that's going to contribute in special teams and fill out the depth chart, well, Michael Barrett's your guy.
Okay. Carlo.
Yeah, I would say I was definitely going to do the same thing. Clay, I was going to say special teamer for sure. One thing I will say about Michael, he's a thumper now. Like he can definitely hit. One thing that Harbaugh showed when they were in Michigan, he had a cracked helmet that he gave him as a trophy, which I thought that was pretty cool. Cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, at the end of the day, special teams, and it's okay. Like it's a lot of players in the NFL who make a career out of being on special teams. We have a assistant special teams coach who made his career 7 years in the league as a special teams person. So there is a need, and it's an important piece of winning games, right? And so I think that could be where he is. I think that he could potentially do something like a Sam Franklin, where sometimes if someone gets injured, he may come in and play a few plays at linebacker. But I mean, at pick 240, I think you're just kind of rolling the dice and seeing what you can get out of that. And so we'll see what happens. I hope that he does make the team. I do agree with you, Tony, that there may be some few people that he could play better than that are on our team right now. But we'll see. Like who knows what's going to happen during training camp. We can always say all these things and have these predictions, but you gotta go out there and show it. You gotta go out there and show it. So we'll see what happens.
Special teams, special plays, special players.
What's up, brother?
There you go. CD.
Yeah, I actually like this pick and did not know anything about him beforehand. And then I turned on the film and I was impressed because first thing you see from him is him taking a fake punt and running, which that's fine. But then you watch a few more highlights and he's returning kicks. Like, no, he's not the back man. He's kind of an up back. This dude can move. And I always like to, I just did a video on it. I was like, how many people can you imagine throwing a Luke Kuechly back there or whatever linebacker actually being able to return a kick and look fluid like a back? So I think he's going to be sneaky. Like, I think the size is going to be the hardest thing. But for me, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a scheme or a package where they get him off ball and find a way to use him, because I like what I've seen, the toughness that people talked about. They said in the game where he broke his face mask, he hurt his shoulder and had an AC sprain, didn't come out of the game. It's like, this dude is tough, and it may be likely special teams from the start, but just having that solid guy out there, like, I'm pulling for him. Like, every year there's the one guy you kind of latch on to, and I know he's not undrafted, but the guys that you're like, oh man, I can really get behind this guy, and I just want to see what he can do. So I'm excited about it.
Okay. All right, bet.
Yeah. I'm kind of high on Michael Barrett. I think it was a good value pick for round 7 pick 240. A guy that he kind of reminds me of is when Malcolm Rodriguez came out of Oklahoma State a couple years ago to the Lions. I was really high on him. You know, you're talking about a disciplined linebacker that know how to play his gaps. That's, he's better than Malcolm Rodriguez was as far as in pass coverage. But this guy's a winner. He comes from a winning program, has played a lot of ball. So you get that experience coming in. So like you said, he may start off on special teams, but I think eventually you will see that he work his way into the linebacker rotations, especially when he comes in and get some more development, and these NFL coaches get their hands on him. That there's a lot to work with here.
Okay, bet. All right. And last, I just mentioned the undrafted free agents. And real quick, I got I think Jalen Coker up here because he's the one that I've heard a lot about from a lot of people ever since his name was mentioned. But real quick, everybody, one guy, and it can be Jalen Coker, one guy on this list that you're excited to see play. Go ahead,
CD.
Yeah. For me, I think it is Coker. I think the Monmouth running back that people talked about earlier, those are my guys. And to be honest, like I was waiting for these to like become officially official and then kind of do my analysis. But Sam Pinckney too out of Coastal Carolina. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be excited about Coker for sure.
Okay. Carlo?
Can I be honest real quick?
All the
time.
I was excited about Jalen Coker a little bit more than some of the draft picks that we picked. If I'm being completely honest, if I'm keeping it a true buck, I was excited for him. And, just is basically off of, one thing I will say, like, I did not know about him until Smitty posted him on his channel. And if anybody knows wide receivers, is Steve Smith, right? Especially as a Panthers fan. And so after that, of course, if anybody, if you watch film, you're like, okay, I need to look at it for myself, right? And so you start doing your own research, and I was like, this guy is a great route runner. He is like a young Adam Thielen who can get open. He's not as fast. He's not a fast wide receiver. He knows how to get separation. His hands were some of the best I've seen. He is a hands catcher. He doesn't catch with his body. And Smitty said he was the best route runner in the draft, and that could be very, very. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. So I can go on and on about Coker. I'm excited about the guy. I posted him on Twitter, and his mom liked my post, which is pretty dope. But Jalen Coker he has a really good chance of making a team. We'll see what happens though. Like I said, you have a good chance, but it's what you put out on film in terms of preseason. I mean, preseason and also training camp. So we'll see.
Hold on 1 second before you go, Clay. There was another wide receiver that CJ and I talked about a month or so ago, right along with Jalen Coker, and that was Hayden Hatton out of Idaho State. Now, I know a lot of people haven't mentioned him. I haven't really seen anybody mention him. But when you go back and watch the tape and watch how he dominated the conference that he was in, he has very good hands. Just like Jalen Coker, great route runner, big body. But Hayden Hatton, I don't know if he signed with somebody undrafted. I'm pretty sure he did.
The Rams probably got him.
I was hoping we could get. Yeah, I was hoping we can get both of them, but I just want to throw that out there. Hayden Hatton, when he was the other wide receiver with Jalen Coker, that a lot of people felt like could sneak into the draft.
And Tony, the other thing too, is a lot of people do say, Tony, real quick. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, he was in FCS. He hasn't played anybody in the third." But it's like what somebody said. I think what was it? I can't remember who said it, but it's like y'all say I don't play nobody, but I make them look like that I don't play anybody, and that's what it was. Like he was the best person on the team, best person on the field. He made the corners that he played look like nobody, and so we'll see what happens.
That's the one thing I always say about drafting people from lower level, from the FCS Division 2 NAIA. Did you dominate not the competition? Not just was you good, because that's not going to be good enough to reach the NFL. Did you dominate? And when I went back and watched some highlights from Hayden Hatton and from Jalen Coker, they dominated the competition that was across from them every single game, and they have the stats to prove it. So to me, that translates to the NFL. I just hope that Jalen Coker don't turn out to be another Derek Wright. Because we said the same thing about Derek Wright. We had him on the practice squad a couple years. He got called up, but never really saw action. But he always showed out in the preseason and during training camp. You know what I mean? So, but I'm high. I'm high on those two guys. And while I'm at it, my sleeper would be Willie Drew. I'm gonna go HBCU.
Fact. Go ahead, Clay.
Go ahead, Clay.
I mean, I'm a Coastal alum, so I would say Sam Pinkney. I could go all day about Sam Pinkney, but I'm actually gonna say Willie Drew is actually my favorite on this list. The reason why is the guy with a 4.4 speed who has 11 interceptions in over 11 seasons. He had 23 pass breakups when I watched his game film. He had 77 tackles, 4.5 tackles for a loss over the same period. The quickness. He's good at keeping up with athletic receivers when I watch his tape. The problem is he struggles with the bigger, stronger pass catchers. But other than that, his tape looks good. And of course, I'm all about adding to the corner room because the NFL is a pass catching league. So
right.
Give me more corners.
All right. Alex.
Go ahead, Alex.
Oh yeah, it's Harrison Mevis, like the thicker kicker, man. I'm so excited.
You talk about drinking some beers with a guy. That's the guy.
Oh my god!
I talked about this yesterday. I talked about this all last year. Nobody's having fun out there. We need a Gardner Minshew on this team. We need these guys to start having fun. We need guys like this on the roster where it's you're not playing for your job every single time. You are, but like you have some fun, get some touchdowns, like and you saw it on the defense. I mean, the defense with Luvu, and that's when we missed the most about Luvu, is just that energy, the like we love what we do kind of thing. And the offense last year just looked like I talk about it all the time, is the Pinero after he misses that kick and he goes the shrug, like you don't care, man.
Yeah.
Let's like each other. I mean,
I told you I couldn't make it that far.
Do what?
I told you I couldn't make it that far.
Yeah, it's just kind of like you don't look upset at all. It's like a shrug. It's like we lost again. Oh,
yeah.
I'll go back.
No, I know he didn't say nothing, but I'm just saying that's what his facial expression said to me. I couldn't make it that far. I told you.
It was so annoying. So I want somebody like this on the team. Like I want those guys, the fun guys.
Yeah.
Right,
but for real, honestly,
who you got? Who you got, CJ? Who you got?
Me?
Who's your favorite person off this list? Yeah.
I'm gonna go with Coker. I'm gonna go with the favorite pick. I'm excited to see what he does in minicamp and the opportunity that he may get to shine, because one thing that we've all been begging for is to put more talent around Bryce. And I don't give a damn whether it's first round, second round, undrafted. If the man can come in and help us make a difference, I say we get him on the team and get him a spot. So you never know. As we learned last year, injuries will always be lurking this ugly head around. You never know. God forbid. I hope nobody goes down. But I don't think we can ever say that we've had a season where everybody stayed healthy the entire season. So you never know where this man may fall in and where he may have a spot at. So he can contribute. So yeah, that would be mine.
Facts.
All right, y'all.
So before we get out of here, I have one question that I want to throw to the panel, and you see it talked about a lot around YouTube and Twitter and things like that, and I'm just going to ask you guys, and you guys tell me what you guys think. I'm going to keep mine to myself, but there's information out there that undrafted free agent quarterback Jack Plummer is going to take Bryce Young starting position. He's going to be the Jake Delhomme of the Carolina Panthers, and this guy's going to come in, give Bryce competition, and unsee him. Now, before anybody answers, I want to say this about Jack Plummer. Jack Plummer played at 3 schools in 5 years. He started off at Purdue, 3 years, then went to Cal, and then Louisville. All right. So last year at Louisville, his stats were 3,200 yards, 21 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions. So in my mind, this guy has thrown, and on top of that, 8 fumbles. go along with 12 touchdowns. So I hear people talking about he got a big arm, he's accurate, and this and that. So for his career, 68 touchdowns and 31 interceptions. The guy threw more interceptions in 1 year than Bryce did in his 3 years starting at Alabama. Bryce threw 80 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. So I just want to know from you guys, do y'all feel like Jack Plummer is the incumbent to unseat Bryce Young? I'm just throwing it out there.
No. No, man. I mean, look,
is this even a conversation?
Right.
Yeah, that's Tony being petty right now.
Man. You'd be surprised.
Hey,
because if this is a true conversation, we need to have a talk with those folks, and they might need to go see a psychiatrist.
I'm just telling you what's out there. I'm just telling you what's been talked about. It has been a topic of discussion.
I probably know who's been having that discussion.
Right.
For me, I refuse to get in it, but I feel like, you know what? Hey, other people may feel the same. So let me just throw the question out to the panel and you guys give y'all input.
Tony, I don't know what you got going on with your Twix algorithm. I haven't seen that yet. I'm glad I haven't seen that yet. Because if I did, this is what I would say.
Let's not cap about that. That's not flex for the ground. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
CAP. 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 All right. We don't
all I'm gonna say, my final word to that is you can't fix stupid.
That is a fact. That's a t-shirt.
That part.
Man, I'll go ahead and say this, man. Obviously, I mean, to break it down for those of you who need it to be broken down to you.
Yeah, help them out, Quan. Help them out.
Man, this is simply just depth piece. Obviously, you know what I'm saying, they want to have 3 quarterbacks on their roster. Bryce Young, the way they talk about him, obviously you building a team around Bryce Young. I get that, you know, there's fans out there that don't like Bryce Young, but this is not about you. You know what I mean? So they're bringing in Plummer. He's obviously going to be QB3. You know what I mean? If he does make it past training camp, you know what I'm saying? So don't get your hopes up. I get it. You don't like Bryce, but guess what? He's going to be the starting quarterback this coming season. Man. So it is what it is. Gotta get that out your head, man. That's crazy. That's crazy.
What CD? What you got, CD? I see you smiling over there.
I just can't believe that would even come up. I have no comment beyond that.
It has. It has. Lord, no,
yeah.
I am not making this up. I am not making this up whatsoever.
He's not. I can attest that I've synced it too. Okay, that's what a T at the end. I've synced it too. So it is out there.
It is what it is, man.
Hey, man.
It is what it is, man. Hey, I see. I just want to throw that out there.
Hey, appreciate it. Hey, everybody. This was a whole lot of fun. I appreciate everybody for pulling up to the panel. Okay. And before we get out of here, I want everybody to take time, let everybody know where you're at. Shout out your channel, your social media. CD, we go ahead and start with you.
Hey, yes. Just 2 Growls, 1 Roar. You can search it wherever you get your stuff. I'm on YouTube, all that fun stuff. So, yeah.
CD killing on Twix.
Trying, man.
Hey, that's what's up. Alex?
Yeah, I co-host the Boboddy show with Ricky, who was on earlier. Everybody I feel like knows Ricky and nobody knows me, but I'm there too. So listen to
that. We got you, man. Play.
Yeah, guys, you can follow me on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, all those. You can look at me up by my name as you see there, or the Roppstar report. It's all up there, or you can just look it up at Roppstar 92 _. That's where you can find me. And and I've also added all you guys' channels to the link on my channel so people for this live stream, so they can go right to it.
Facts. Appreciate that.
Carlo.
Yes, sir. First off, I think I follow most of you all. I think Clay and Quan, I will follow you all right after this. So shout out to y'all, man. This was so dope, CJ and Tony. Thank y'all for doing this. So I started a podcast in January, so I'm fairly new. Called the PreGame Podcast. We go live every Thursday at 7:30. This is your VIP pass to the fusion of sports and pop culture. So it's a lot different from a lot of other people. We don't just talk about Panthers. Yes, we're gonna have our Panthers stuff. We talk about all sports, all football, basketball, whatever it may be, and then what's taking place in pop culture. So if you want to have a good time,
like
go
that,
up on us to the PreGame. Appreciate you.
Thanks.
Like that,
Hey,
like
great
that.
homie, Uncle Quan.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, first of all, shout out to you guys, man, at Two Fans in the Stands. Y'all been doing a damn thing, man. So if you are not subscribed to this channel, I don't know what are you doing in here peeping and stuff, man. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Not only do you have two fans in here, but man, you got some brilliant minds on this panel, man. This was probably the most fun I've had on a panel, man. And I don't usually get on a lot of panels, but this was crazy. This was overwhelming with a lot of, very brilliant opinions. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had different opinions, but it was all like it made so much sense, man. So shout out to each and every last one of you.
Right.
I'll definitely be hitting you guys up, man. I'll definitely be giving you a sub.
Yeah.
And shout out to the chat, man. Shout out to y'all for hanging out with us for the late show. You know what I'm saying? I'm in my PJs,
Yeah,
you know, I got
appreciate
my do-rag on and stuff. So it was a nice chill, you know what I'm saying, late live, man. So I definitely had a lot of fun. You guys can find me over at the Panthers Experience, Uncle Quan, man. I do mostly vlogs and stuff over there. I break down film and I just have a good time over there, man. It's a lot of love over there. So we're about to reach 2,000 subscribers soon. So definitely hit the channel up and just let me know how you like it, man. I appreciate you guys for bringing me on.
Yeah. Hey, one thing before you take us out, CJ, because reason why I picked a lot of these guys, man, because I do follow them on Twitter, like CD, Clay, Alex, Carlo. So it was nice to put a voice with the words that you see on Twitter and hear how you break down and analyze and give the statistics and things like that. I be on Twitter, but I'm not a big conversationalist on Twitter. But I do like to find little conversations here and there and give my opinions and and chop it up with you guys. But yeah, it was good to finally put a face with the conversation that you guys have on Twitter. So I greatly appreciate you guys coming on, man. Salute to you guys. And you guys got an open invitation anytime.
Sir. All right, y'all. Hey, everybody in the chat that's been rocking with us, we appreciate you. We love you. And again, if you're new here, welcome. All right. And please subscribe to the channel. You can check us out on all social media at Two Fans in the Stands and on what we like to call Twix, a mixture of Twitter and X. Okay, you can find us at Two Fans ITS. And as always, for those of you that know us, you know what I'm about to say. And those of you that are new, I like to take us out with three things. All right. Number one, y'all be good. Number two, y'all be safe. And number three, as always, and especially, hey, y'all keep pounding, man. Keep pounding.
Keep.
We out.